Good
Morning, Your Honor. Sound check.
Good morning, Mr. Poston. Who do we have at the
Yes.
jailbird CD's office today? Hi, Mr.
Ellen. Hi.
Sorry, you were hiding over there. I couldn't see your face. So, Ms. Rubin and Mr. Poston, let me ask you a question. Judge Hampson is going to be out next week, and Judge Constant can cover steps hearings on Thursday morning. I cannot. I'm here. I will be covering the rest of the week. Do you want to use next Thursday as a steps date? We have a lot of people that are eligible, or do we want to move it up a day and have them in my courtroom instead? Thoughts?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I have no preference, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Give me your name.
Edward Perez.
Is your middle name Morelos?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, you were here today on an assault charge out of Pima County Justice Court. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say kind of will be used against you. It's my understanding that you have been sentenced to DOC on some felony matters. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so on this case today, we're here to talk about your conditions of release. What I'm going to do is impose a $100 cash or secured bond on this case and appoint Jill Gookin to represent you. That way you can get this matter resolved before you go off to DOC. You're going to have a hearing tomorrow, May 23rd at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You will appear via video, just like you're doing here today. Hopefully, Ms. Gookin will get a chance to come out and talk with you so you can talk with her about what you want to do on that case. All right?
Sounds good.
If for some reason you get out, I don't think that will happen, but if you were to, you do have to appear at the date and time I gave you or a warrant will issue for your arrest. Do you understand that, Mr. Perez?
Sounds good.
In the meantime, don't have any contact with the victim, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done.
Thank you. Oh, yes, sure.
Mr. Davis, I see that you're on the line today, but I don't think we have any Spanish speakers. Jail, do we have any Spanish speakers?
Good morning, Your Honor. No Spanish speakers today.
All right. Did you catch that, Mr. Davis? Hang on, sir. I'm trying to get the interpreter. Pedro, can you hear me?
Your Honor, sorry, excuse me. We just got word that there may be a family member that may be present on the line for a case later on that may need the interpreter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we don't have anyone that has called in asking to participate. So if they're not here, I haven't been able to get Mr. Davis, so we'll see what happens here in a few minutes with him.
No problem.
I can hear you. So, Mr. Davis, I will tell you that we don't have anyone that we're seeing today at IA's that's a Spanish speaker. The jail said something about a family member, but we have not had any calls from any victims that are asking for assistance with the Spanish interpreter. So I don't know. Did you get any other information that you were supposed to be here for anyone other than the regular calendar? I don't think we need to keep you hanging around for no reason. So I'll just have the JP court clerk call if we need someone to jump back on the line at some point in the next hour or so. Thank you. Have a good day. Sir, tell me your name. All right, sir, you were here for a review hearing. It looks like you have a warrant out of Bisbee. And the bond that was previously imposed, it looks like was a $5,000 bond. All we're doing today is affirming that bond. Do you still have matters here in Pima County that you're dealing with?
Yes.
So the reason that you keep coming back for these review hearings, and we're just going to affirm the bond at this time, is because we want to make sure that we aren't losing track of that case down in Cochise County in Bisbee. So we're going to set another review hearing date for you on June 23rd at 9. If your cases in Pima County finish and you're all done, then the jail will call Bisbee and let them know that if they want to come get you, they can do that. Depending upon your circumstances, you could post the bond in the case, this one, the $5,000 bond. But at this time, all we're going to do is have you come back on June 23rd if you're still in custody to just check the status of things. All right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done for today, sir. Hi, tell me your name.
Michael Blanco Alvarez Jr.
Mr. Alvarez, you are here today on a charge of domestic violence, disorderly conduct. You do have the right to remain silent on that charge. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is the time for your initial appearance where we're going to talk about conditions of release. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. Tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. It does look like your girlfriend in this case, who is the victim, Mason Villarreal, indicated that she is willing to have continued contact with you and that you can return home. If I release you today, sir, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will release you today's date. The only condition of release that you have at this time is that you are not permitted to commit any acts of domestic violence. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your next court hearing is going to be June 2nd at 10:30 in the morning. That will be at Pima County Justice Court in front of, I think, Judge Cornejo at that time. When you get released later today, you're going to be given a copy of your paperwork that will have the date and time of your hearing that we just talked about, as well as the address and phone number for Justice Court. You are required to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're all done for today.
Thank you.
You're good.
Hi, tell me your name.
Brenda Jean Espenshade.
Ms. Espenshade, you were here today on a charge involving domestic violence interfering with the judicial proceeding. You do have the right to remain silent on that charge. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release today. I've had the opportunity to review some information prepared by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. It does look like the victim in this is your spouse, Joseph, and it does look like there's an active order of protection on this case.
Yes.
I have the option of releasing you, ma'am, but if I do that, you're going to be under court order not to have any contact with him. You already do, and you continue to violate that. So I do have some concerns. Do you have somewhere, do you have
I'm
somewhere,
sorry.
do you have somewhere that you're living that is away from him?
I've been staying in hotels and suites and
Okay.
yes.
And do you understand that if I release you today, you cannot have any contact of any kind with him? Do not call
Yes.
him, do not text him. He does not exist in your world. Do you understand that?
Actually, he does not exist in my world.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right. And if I release you, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, I will.
I will release you today. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd, and that is going to be at 10:30 in the morning in front of Judge Cornejo at Justice Court. You are not
Right.
allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case, go anywhere near where he is living or working, don't commit any further acts of domestic violence.
Okay. May I ask one question?
Yes?
My daughter-in-law has my belongings and she lives around the corner. Is it okay that I go get them?
You can
I have a Penske truck.
Yes, you can go get your belongings if they're somewhere other than at his residence. I could, if you
Okay.
want, if there's anything that you have at his residence, I can check a box on your conditions of release that allows you to return to that residence with law enforcement. Do
Okay.
you want that option?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I will check the box that says you may return to the residence only with law enforcement. So what that
That's
means, when you get released today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork. It's going to have your court date and time. It's also going to tell you the location of justice court, and it will have that box checked. You do need to take that form to a substation nearby where you live, a police substation, or call 911 and let them know that you need to go to a residence to collect your belongings and that you need to have law enforcement escort you. Do not sit around the corner. Don't sit in front of the house. Don't do any of that. Be somewhere else until law enforcement gets there to go with you. Do you understand all of that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Right. And if you fail to appear on June 2nd of 2025, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
Yes.
When you get released later today, ma'am, there is the transition center, which is when you get released, if you follow the blue line out the door, it'll take you to a white trailer with a big blue sign that says transition center. They may be able to assist you with some temporary housing as well, if you want to stop by there and see if there's anything that they can do for you, okay?
Thank you.
You're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
It's Ernest Aaron Greeley.
Mr. Greeley, you were here today on charges of domestic violence, disorderly conduct. They are misdemeanor offenses. I do believe that we have a victim on the line. And it looks like one of the victims is your daughter, Valerie, and then there's a daughter-in-law, Desiree. Valerie, can you hear me?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So this is the time for your initial appearance on these charges. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've had an opportunity to review a report that pretrial services has prepared for me. It tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offenses. First, sir, if I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
So the information that I have from pretrial services, it looks like Valerie had a chance to talk with them. She indicated that she was willing to have further contact with you and that you could return home. However, I don't know if Desiree lives in that home. Pretrial services, she does?
Yes. She's my other stepdaughter.
Yes.
She's not.
Yeah. Okay. So it's stepdaughter. Okay. So, Valerie, did you have anything else about conditions of release? We're going to talk about Desiree in a minute, but do you have anything else that you want to let the court know about conditions of release today?
Well, Your Honor, there's no victim at all, ma'am.
Okay, so we're
was-
not, ma'am.
He never
Ma'am,
touched her.
ma'am, I want to stop you because
Yes, Your Honor.
we're not going to talk about what happened today, and this is not the time to talk about charges and whether they go forward or don't. This is only to talk about conditions of release. So I am going to release your dad.
Okay.
I am going to release your dad today. The issue will be whether or not he's allowed to return home, but you will be able to have contact with him. He just isn't allowed to commit any acts of domestic violence, okay?
Okay.
So is there anything else just about conditions of release that you want to talk about today?
No, I want him to come home here.
Okay, so here is the issue. We have not been able to get a hold of Desiree. So if she lives in the home, sir, you're not going to be allowed to return there until there's a judge that allows contact with her.
She works for the post office, so she's running the mail right now. We're all a family. I mean, we live together. I don't know what to do.
Do you have someone, Valerie, I need you to stay quiet for just a minute. Do you have somewhere else that you can stay?
I have an RV. I could stay in it, I guess. That's okay.
Yeah, you can't stay on the property. And at some point, a judge can change this, or Desiree can get a hold of the court, or the county attorney's office has a victim services program. She can talk with them about getting conditions of release changed if she wants to do that. So until or unless they're able to get a hold of Desiree, you're not going to be able to return home. So whatever you need to do between now and then will have to be something that you need to figure out at this time.
Okay.
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 All right. So I am going to release you today on your promise to appear. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd at Pima County Justice Court. And that's going to be at 10:30. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of your paperwork that will have the court date and time on it. Your conditions of release, as I've indicated, don't commit any acts of domestic violence. You're not allowed to return to the incident location at this time, and you're not allowed to have any contact with Desiree. You are allowed to have contact with Valerie. You just can't go to the house to see her. All right. And again, the court can change that in the future, but for today, that is the court's order. You'll be back before the court on June 2nd. So it could be resolved then. It could be resolved sooner as well. But until then, you need to abide by that no contact and don't return home. Do you need to go back to the house to collect any of your belongings? Is that where the RV is?
Yes, ma'am. I could, after I get out, if I could make a phone call to my wife and she could bring me what I need.
Yeah.
If Valerie, if you're able to get hold of Desiree, who is Desiree to call? You said that it could be resolved.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, no.
So you can ask her to call. It's not like she can call someone and say, hey, I want contact and you're going to be able to go home tonight. That's not going to be the way it will work because it has to be a court order. So your next court hearing at Justice Court is going to be June 2nd at 10:30. Valerie, Desiree can contact the Victim Services Division of the Prosecutor's Office. That's the Pima County Attorney's Office. And you could try to contact.
Do you know the number, ma'am?
I do not. You'll have to use internet skills and get the main number for the Victim Services Division of the Prosecutor's Office. I just don't have that at my fingertips. The other option will be contacting Pima County Justice Court. And that number is 724-3171.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else? You do need to appear on that June 2nd date. If you don't, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anything else that you have questions about for today? All right. You're all done, sir. Make sure you get your paperwork when you leave the jail.
Good, thank you. Yes.
Do I hang up, Your Honor?
Yes, you're all done, ma'am. Have a good day. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor.
Francis Islas.
Mr. Eastless, you were here on a couple of justice court matters. It looks like there is warrants out for your arrest. One is for a criminal trespass and then failure to appear dating back to 2023. And another one is a criminal trespass from 2025. You do have the right to remain silent on these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release today. There is a $250 bond amount on the warrants from 2023 and a $100 amount on the warrant from 2025. Did you know that you had these warrants, sir?
No. I supposed to be, I was released for these charges before, and then I thought they was already done in my name.
So if I release you today, well, actually, it looks like you already have Mr. Huerta appointed. So here's what we're going to do, sir. I am going to impose the bond amounts that are on the warrants today. So in CR 2020 or CR 23-011151, I am going to impose the $250 bond amount. If you post that bond, it's going to be cash or secured. Then you can be released. You are not allowed to return to the incident location. That's where the victims are, and you can't go back there. So wherever you were criminally trespassed from, do not go back there. Do you understand?
Mm.
Your next court date is going to be tomorrow, and that is going to be at 1 o'clock. And that's going to be in front of Judge Foreman. If you're in custody still, you're going to appear via video, much like you're doing here today. If you get released, you have to show up at Pima County Justice Court for that hearing. You seeing me today does nothing to resolve these cases. Do you understand that?
Okay, so that means I need to pay a bond to get released. That means
Yes.
because I don't have no money at all, and I do have valuable things with me. With when they arrest me, can I use something like that for and pay for the bond or no?
So I am appointing Sal Huerta to represent you. And you should talk to him about that and what you can do in terms of potentially getting released. You're going to be back in court tomorrow. If you can't post your bond, you will be back here, just like you are today via video in front of, I think it's Judge Foreman tomorrow, and they will be able to talk with you about what to do going forward. If you post
Okay,
the, Go ahead.
my question is, when I get arrested last night, I was having valuable things with me. Can I use that one and
I
pay
don't-
for
I
the bond?
I don't know the answer to that, sir, because you're not going to be able to get out to pawn any of those items to use those to be able to use as collateral. So I do not believe that bail bond companies will do that, but I don't know the answer to that. So you need to talk with Mr. Huerta. He'll be able to assist you with those things. All right. So
Okay.
your next court date is going to be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. As I've said, if you do post bond, $250 bond on one case, $100 bond on the other case. These are consecutive bonds. If you post them and get released, you do have to appear. They're just going to keep issuing warrants for your arrest. Do you understand that? All right, you're all done for today.
Thank you.
Hi, tell me your name.
Tito Lenore Martinez.
Ms. Martinez, you were here today on a charge of domestic violence, failing to comply with a court order or interfering with a judicial proceeding. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I have had a chance to review information provided by pretrial services. This is a report that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. It looks like the victim in this matter is listed as your husband. If I release you today, you are not going to be allowed to have any contact with him. It looks like there's already an active order of protection that says you're not to have contact with him anyway. Do you understand that?
Yep.
And if I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes.
I am going to release you today, Ms. Martinez. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd at 10:30 in the morning. You do have to appear at that date and time. If you fail to appear, a warrant will issue for your arrest. Your conditions of release are that you have no contact with the victim, do not go anywhere near where he is living or working, do not have any contact with him, not on the phone, not through social media, absolutely no contact. If you do, you'll be in violation and then you'll be back here again. Do you understand?
And that goes vice versa for him, right?
I'm sorry?
What if he breaks the protection order?
Hang up, stay away from him. The order that I have is with you. You are not allowed to have any contact with him. So you need
He
to,
has one as well, yeah.
you just need to stay
Okay.
away from him. All right? Do you
Yep.
understand?
Mhm.
All right, you're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
All right. Alex Arriero.
Miss Ariero, you are here, Mr. Ariero, you are here today on charges of assault, unlawful imprisonment, and disorderly conduct. These are domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services on this case. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. If I release you today, you're going to be under court order to not have any contact with Miss Ramos. You can't go anywhere near her where she is living, no phone calls, no text messages, no emails, absolutely no communication with her. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you will abide by that if I release you today?
Yes, ma'am.
And you also are going to have to show up at a court date that I give you in the future. Will you do that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I am going to release you on your promise to appear today. Your next court date is going to be June 17th at 1:30 in the afternoon in front of Judge Millian at Tucson City Court. When you get released later today, you're going to get a copy of court paperwork that will have the court's address as well as the date and time I just gave you and the judge's name. In the meantime, as I've said, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, and you're not allowed to have any contact with Miss Ramos. Don't go anywhere near where she's living or working or the incident location. Did the two of you live together?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. She was living with me.
Okay, so you're going to have to find a different place to go until there's a further order of the court. So are you able to?
Yes, yes, I will be able to. But she's my wife, and we spoke fine before anything, like before they took me to jail. Is there any way she can, talk to the judge or something like that to change that?
He can talk to the judge, yes, but you're not allowed to have any contact with her. So you can't go to her and ask her to contact the judge. That's a violation of your order. You are not allowed to have any contact with her.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so no contact with her. She can contact the city prosecutor's office or Tucson City Court. You will be back before the judge on June 17th at 1:30. And certainly you can address it at that time, if not before, but you are going to have to find some other place to live. So your order is going to be establishing an alternate address until there's a further order of the court. Do you need to return back to that house to get any of your belongings?
No, ma'am.
All right. Do you understand all the conditions of release I've imposed today?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that if you fail to appear for your next court hearing, that they could issue a warrant for your arrest?
Yes, ma'am.
You're all done for today, sir.
Ma'am,
Yes.
when is my next court date?
June 17th. When you get released today, get a copy of your court paperwork. It'll have that date and time on it, so you don't have to memorize it, okay?
Is there any possible chance I could get a sooner date?
No, unfortunately, that's the date that Tucson City Court has for you, so you can contact them and try to get the date moved up. But today, that's the only date I can offer you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're all done.
Yeah.
That other sheet back, 'cause that one's. Oh. Thought that was strange. Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Stephanie Marie Delanoble.
Ms. Della Noble, you are here today on charges of domestic violence, disorderly conduct, and assault. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've had the opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services today. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at a court date that I give you in the future?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pretrial services was able to contact the victim in this case. It does look like it's your husband, Mr. Joy, and he's indicated that he is fine having continued contact with you. So the only order you're going to be under is to not commit any acts of domestic violence while you're on release. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the time for your arraignment on these charges as well. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. Your next court date is going to be June 17th at 1:30 in the afternoon. That'll be in front of Judge Millian at Tucson City Court. When you get released later today, you will get copies of your court paperwork. That'll have the date and time that I just gave you, as well as the address and the judge's name. If you do fail to appear for that hearing, a warrant could issue for your arrest. In addition to the warrant, if you fail to appear, the court could go forward with that hearing and set other hearings, including a trial. If you get convicted of that trial in your absence and you can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to an appeal. Do you understand that those are all the consequences you face if you don't show up for court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're all done for today, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, sir, tell me your name.
Kenny,
Kenny Kimura?
yes,
All right. You are here today on domestic violence charges involving threats and intimidation, 2 counts of assault and 2 counts of criminal damage. These are charges out of Tucson City Court. They are misdemeanors. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Your parents are here in the courtroom today. We've had an officer with the Tucson Police Department talk with them using a translator. When they initially spoke with the pretrial services in this case, they were concerned about you coming home. Now they've indicated that they're okay with you coming home. We're going to talk about that in a minute. This is the time for us to discuss your conditions of release. Mr. Kimura, do you have somewhere else to stay if I do not let you return home today?
yes. Right, like here or somewhere else.
Somewhere,
Uh,
do you have
where?
do you have any
I-
other family or friends you can stay with besides your parents?
Oh, okay. There's one with my uncle. It's Uncle Ho, where his house is next to Maggie Middle School.
Okay, so you could potentially stay with your uncle.
Yes.
Okay, all right. This is also the time for your arraignment on these charges. You are presumed innocent. I am going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. What I'm going to do today, sir, based on what your parents have said is I will allow you to have contact with them because that's what they're asking for today. I do have concerns about you returning back home and living in the residence. Like your mom's trying to talk to the officer. So let me see if I can get some additional input. Hang on a minute.
She's just trying to relay that Uncle O is her sister's obviously husband and they may not be able to stay there.
Okay, so the concern that I have, folks, is obviously this turned into a situation that was not good for everyone. And if he comes back home, we don't want to have something like this happen again, where either he is more seriously injured or you are. So at this time, I'm going to allow you to have contact with him. I would ask that he attempt to find an alternate address. So I'm not going to order that he can't go home today since you're here and you're asking that he be allowed to do that. But I would encourage you to talk with family members to see if there's somewhere else that he could stay while this case is going on. Do you understand that?
Yes, Judge.
Okay. And then are you, Mr. Kimura, seeing anyone, any counselors or receiving any mental health treatment currently?
Not really, Judge.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is release you today. And your order is not to commit any acts of domestic violence. If you do end up going back to your parents' house, if you feel yourself getting angry or upset, you should leave. Don't fight with them about anything. Do you understand that?
I understand, just.
Okay. Your next court date is going to be June 24th at 9 o'clock in the morning, and that's going to be at Tucson City Court. When you get released today, you're going to get a copy of your court paperwork, and that is going to have that date and time I just gave you, as well as the address and phone number for the courthouse where you have to go on June 24th at 9. Do you understand that?
I understand. Yes.
If you fail to appear for that hearing, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set a trial. If you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you're also going to lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand that those are all the consequences you face if you don't go to court?
I understand.
Okay. When you get released today, Mr. Kimura, I am going to encourage you to go by the transition center. When you get released, the jail is going to give you a copy of your paperwork. And then once you go out the door, follow the blue line that's going to be on the ground. It's going to take you right to a white trailer with a blue sign that says Transition Center. If you go there, they're going to be able to help get you connected with some mental health services. Okay, so that would be an opportunity for you to get connected to services here in Tucson that may be able to assist you. All right?
Understand, just.
Okay. All right. You're all done for today, Mr. Kimura. Okay, folks. So the next hearing will be that June 24th date. You are also welcome to go by the transition center at the jail and talk with them to see if they can help you get some services for your son. Okay? All right. Have a good day. We're all done. Hey, sir. What's your name?
It's best. Solid.
Mr. Solly, you are here today on charges of assault. It is a domestic violence offense. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is the time for your arraignment as well. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services on this case. They prepare a report telling me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances. It looks like at this time they have not been able to contact your cousin or roommate, Nas Herman. And so I'm not going to be able to let you go home today to that place. Do you have somewhere else that you can find to live until your next court date or until another judge changes that?
Yes.
Okay. If I release you today, will you promise to show up at the next court date that I give you? All right. I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. Your next court date is going to be June 23rd at 9:30 in the morning in front of Judge Verena. When you get released today, you're going to get a copy of the court paperwork that will have the court's date and time, as well as the address for city court. In the meantime, don't commit any acts of domestic violence, and you're not going to be able to have any contact with Mr. Herman or go to where he is living or working. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you need to return to that place so that you can collect any of your belongings? No? Okay. All right. If you fail to appear for that court date that I gave you, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. They could also go forward with that hearing in your absence and set future hearings, including a trial in your absence. If you get convicted at that trial and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could give up your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand that you face all those consequences if you don't show up for court?
Yes.
You're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Jonathan Wayne Williams.
Mr. Williams, you were here today on new charges out of Tucson City Court involving assault and resisting arrest. It looks like you also have some other city court matters where there were warrants issued for you on charges of threats and intimidation, assault, criminal trespass, shoplifting, and disorderly conduct. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. We're here to talk about your conditions of release on this case, as well as the other cases. It looks like you had or have a court date with Judge Maldonado on June 16th. Is that
Okay.
right? Did you
Yes.
did you know about that court date?
That's just lately. I know that I have myself. Yes.
Okay. This is the time for your arraignment on the new charges. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. It looks like you have your address is listed as general delivery. Do you have a place that you're staying right now, Mr. Williams?
I stay on the streets right now. I heard you saying something about the trailer over there that I could, but might help me get off the streets.
Yeah. So we can talk about that. The first thing, Mr. Williams, is if I release you on these charges today, you have to go to Tucson City Court. Regardless of your living situation, you've got to show up.
Okay.
Will you promise to do that?
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to keep that June 16th date at 9 o'clock. I am going to release you today. You have to appear at Tucson City Court at that date and time in front of Judge Maldonado. And that will be for all of your cases, including this new case. In the meantime, do not have any contact with any of the victims on this case. You can't go anywhere near where they are living or working, and do not return to the incident location where this happened. You can't.
Okay.
Do you understand all those conditions?
Yes.
If you fail to appear at that hearing that I gave you, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. They can also go forward with that hearing and set future hearings, including a trial. If you fail to appear for your trial and you get convicted and can't be sentenced within 90 days, you could also lose your right to appeal that. Do you understand all those consequences if you fail to appear?
Yeah. Yes.
So the transition center is the trailer that's located right on the corner of the jail property. When you get released later today, please collect your court paperwork because that's going to have the date and time on it and where you need to be for city court. Follow the blue line once you walk out the door of the jail, and it's going to take you right around to the white trailer with a big blue sign that says Transition Center. There are staff there and navigators that can help you with housing, substance abuse treatment. They do mental health services. They help people get phones. They help people get rides to court. There's a lot of services that they have. So I would encourage you to stop by there. All right.
All right. Okay.
You're all done for today.
All right. Thank you.
Oh.
Hi, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Joelle Ford.
Ms. Ford, you are here today on a charge of aggravated assault on a peace officer. You do have the right to remain silent on that offense. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this case. Today, I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes at the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of this offense. I've also had an opportunity to review information provided by the state on their recommendation as to conditions of release. Mr. Poston, I see that you're asking for a $5,000 bond. She does not have any criminal history. I am inclined to release her to pretrial today. Did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor, very well.
Ms. Rubin, did you want to be heard in light of the court's inclination?
I know that's what we would have.
Right. So, Ms. Ford, I'm going to release you today to the custody of pretrial services. That means you have to check in with that agency as they direct and stay in contact with them. You're going to have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're not allowed to have any firearms while this case is going on. You're not to have any contact with the victim, and your next court date is going to be June 11th at 1:30. That is a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your June 11th hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
It'll be important that you stay in contact with your attorney because if that court date changes and you miss it, they can issue a warrant. So stay in touch with pretrial and your attorney, all right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're all done.
Get more cases.
So that's the point.
Yeah, but you'll talk to your lawyer when you found it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you about time. Also, the court later the papers too.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Danny Gonzalez.
Is your middle name Julio?
Yep.
All right. You were here today on felony charges.
Got an audience.
You're here today
Yeah.
on felony charges involving kidnapping, aggravated assault, and child abuse. The kidnapping and aggravated assault charges are domestic violence offenses. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
What do you mean kidnapping?
You do have the right to an attorney on this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're here to talk about your conditions of release and what's going to happen going forward. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offenses in this case. I've also reviewed the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. Looks like they're asking for a $15,000 bond. I will tell you, Mr. Poston, that I am at a $25,000 cash or secured bond released to pretrial. Did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor. Very good.
Ms. Rubin?
Yes, he's got no prior felony history or any prior domestic violence or DUI history. He would be willing to stay somewhere where the alleged victim does not live during the process.
What are we talking about though?
So, Mr. Gonzalez, I am
Nonsense that we're talking about.
I am going to impose a bond today on these matters. They're filed under two claims, but it will be a $25,000 cash or secured bond. That is going to be a concurrent bond. If you do post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. That means you have to stay in contact with that agency. You have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. Don't commit any acts of domestic violence. You can't have any alcohol, obviously no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. You are not to have any contact with the victims in this case, and that is going to be your girlfriend and also the minor aged child in this case. That order applies to you even if you remain in custody. You may be given access to phones, laptops, all kinds of devices to contact people, but you are not allowed to have any contact with her even as you remain in the jail. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
No, I don't actually.
You understand them?
No, I don't because why am I? What is this all about?
You don't have to, Mr. Gonzalez, you don't have to like them. So I just need to know that you heard what I told you.
I heard what you told me, but it's not but nonsense, to be honest with you. That kidnapping and all that, I don't know what that's from.
Okay, well,
What about kidnapping?
your attorney is going to be able to talk with you about that, but you heard what I said about your conditions, right? You can't have any contact with the victims.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not good, but I don't know what this is for, but I don't.
Okay, you'll be able to talk to your attorney. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but it's important for you to stay in contact with your attorney because if you don't show up to court, they could issue a warrant for your arrest.
I was trying to show up on time, but they ended up holding me into that room where it said I got a paper. It said at 3 p.m. and I was supposedly at 9 p.m.
You
And
are,
then had me all locked up in that room.
you're right on time today. So you are right here where you needed
How
to
come
be.
how come I got a paper saying it was at 3 p.m.?
Could be,
And
you may have another court hearing at 3 p.m., but you don't.
it's this one because it's Monday 19th. It's the 19th or the 20th.
22nd. Today's the
I
22nd.
have the paperwork. If I want, I can give my attorney over.
So those are the conditions. Do you understand, Mr. Gonzalez, if you fail to appear for your court hearings, that you could have a warrant issued for your arrest?
What was that?
If you don't show up for court, you know they can issue a warrant for you.
Oh
right?
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'll be here, but I'll fight this one too. So
You have every right to do that, sir. Okay, you're
I
all
sure will.
you're all done for today. Go back with the corrections officers, okay?
All that waiting for nothing.
Right this way.
You got help, right? Oh, good. That's right. This is.
Give me just a moment, sir. I'll be right with you. All right, sir, tell me your name.
My name is Andres Ledesma.
Mr. Ledesma, you're here on a couple of different matters today. You're here for a charge of burglary in the second degree. And then you also have a Tucson City Court matter that we're going to talk about in just a moment. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on this felony matter. Today, I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you. And you do have an attorney seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. We're here to talk about your conditions of release. I've had the chance to review some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report that tells me a little bit about you and also the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. They're asking for a $25,000 bond. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
Your Honor, this individual broke into somebody's home, caused a couple $1,000s in damages, and then stole items. And we have an admission post Miranda. This person violated somebody's house. The sense of loss of security has to be palpable for the victims. 25,000. He is a danger to the community.
Ms. Rubin?
Yes, apparently he's homeless right now and unemployed. So he's not going to be able to post that type of bond. Would ask that you consider that in making your decision.
I am going to impose a bond today in the amount of $20,000 cash or secured. If you post that bond, sir, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms. Don't go back to the incident location and don't have any contact with the victims. Do you understand all those conditions?
Yes, ma'am. Hey, ma'am. Can I talk to you about something really important?
You need to talk to your attorney about that. Let me give you another court date,
I
okay?
just feel like I'm really sick. I'm looking for more overdose.
Well,
I just got out the hospital. Right when I got out the hospital, I got arrested.
okay.
And I was going through some problems, ma'am. Like if I was gonna overdose,
Okay, the
I
jail.
feel really sick right now, and I fear for my life.
Okay, Mr. Ledesma, the jail is listening to you, so they'll make sure that you get the medical treatment that you need. Your next court date on this felony case is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. You do need to appear at that date and time if you post your bond and get released. If you stay in custody, the jail will get you to your next hearing. But if you don't show up, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we need to talk about your Tucson City Court case as well. That charge is a possession of drug paraphernalia and having drugs in a school zone. On that case, I am going to release you on your promise to appear.
What you talking about, ma'am? That I had drugs out of school zone.
Yeah, that was from a while ago, and it looks like a warrant was issued out of city court because you didn't show up. That was back in.
You scoot back a little bit, man.
Desma, hey,
Thank you, man.
Desma, stay focused on me for just a minute, okay? We need to talk about your city court case. So I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you on that charge, even though I'm releasing you. And then they'll be out to contact you. We're going to set a hearing date for that on July 18th. So it's going to be a little ways out. They'll kind of track what's going on with your felony case. And then you'll see Judge Cranshaw on the 18th. And your city attorney will be out to talk with you, okay?
What time is that?
It's going to be at 9 o'clock in front of Judge Cranshaw on July 18th. Mr. Ledesma, again, if you don't show up for your hearings, they can issue warrants for you. You understand that, right?
Hey, so what? I'm getting released or some shit?
No, you're going to be held.
Excuse my language. Well, then why do you think I'm not gonna show up, man?
Well, if
you show up.
Okay.
Don't worry about it, man. I promise.
Great. Sounds
To
good.
appear.
Good.
All right.
You're all done.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Thursday meeting. Mr. Alderete, you were here today on a couple of different matters. One of them is going to be a warrant out of Pima County for stalking and aggravated domestic violence. The other is going to be a warrant out of Sierra Vista for your
Sierra Vista.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about your felony case first. You do have the right to remain silent on these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing. We're here to talk about your conditions of release on these cases. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. Tells me that you're on probation, sir, and probation has placed a hold on you. So what that means is regardless of what I do with your conditions of release today, you are going to be held until your probation matter is resolved. It does look like you're on probation for Pima County Superior Court cases. There are 3 of them, and also Sierra Vista Justice Court case.
What is this Sierra Vista? I never even stepped foot in Sierra Vista ever in my life.
You'll need to talk with your attorney about that. It looks like it's obstructing a court order and failing to comply. So that's what Sierra Vista PD has. And that would be, it looks like the Sierra Vista court. So we're here to talk about your conditions, as I've said, on this case, irrespective of the probation hold. I've looked at the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $75,000 bond. I'm inclined to impose a $50,000 cash or secured bond on these new charges. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rubin?
He's being detained without bond on the probation cases, so he needs to get a bond for time credit.
So I am going to impose a bond on your case. It's going to be a $50,000 cash or secured bond. If you get your probation matter resolved and you post that bond on this case, then you'll be released to pretrial services. You do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct, commit no acts of domestic violence. You're not allowed to have any alcohol or illegal drugs and no firearms.
I didn't even commit domestic violence.
At this time, you're not allowed to have any contact with the victim in this case. You're not allowed to return to anywhere near where she is living or working. That order applies to you while you while you remain in custody. So that means if you're given access to phones, computers, or anything else, you can't have contact with her. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. Sir, if you don't want to cooperate now, you can sit around and come back again tonight, or you can listen for another 2 minutes while we finish up here today. What's your preference? Are you going to sit and listen to what I have to say so we can finish this up today? Great. Your next hearing is called a preliminary hearing, and that's on June 2nd at 1:30. That hearing may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future hearings, and if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear? You're giving a thumbs up. That works. The city court case, or the Sierra Vista Justice Court case, is what I'm showing. And there is a bond amount on that warrant of $1,500. I am going to impose that. That's a cash or secured bond. And on that, we're going to set a review hearing for you here in Pima County Superior Court so that we can keep track of that. Let me get a date. So we aren't going to do a review hearing. So what do you want me to do on that for the next date? Yes. Great. So we don't need to give you another court date on that one. So you're all done? So it doesn't want me to do it without setting the court date. So I'll put the June 17th and let you fix it. Yeah, but it's not allowing it to happen. Hang on, ma'am. We're just finishing up some paperwork. So I'll just need you to, fix the date on that one, Lottie. Thank you. Tell me your name, ma'am.
Shannon Barrio?
Spario, you are here today on a few different matters. There are some charges involving drug paraphernalia and possession of a narcotic drug. There is also a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for drugs and drug paraphernalia. And then we also have a matter out of Justice Court where there is a warrant for possession of drug paraphernalia and shoplifting. You do have the right to remain silent on these matters. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on the felony matters. I am going to appoint the public defender, or actually Sarah Wright is going to be appointed to represent you. She is a contract attorney, so she will be contacting you in this case. I've had a chance to review some information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for me that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of your offenses. The report tells me, at least on the new charges, they participate in a drug treatment program. It's a pre-indictment diversion program where if you agree to participate in substance abuse treatment and you qualify for the program, they may dismiss the charges and not go forward with them. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yes.
All right. I am inclined to, obviously, I will give her the steps date. However, given the failures to appear and the number of cases going on, I am inclined to impose a $500 cash or secure bond on this matter, and also the bond amount on the warrant. Do the parties want to be heard on conditions on this case? I would like to get her connected to treatment. That can be reviewed next week at her steps hearing. Today, I want to make sure she has treatment.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Rubin?
No.
Yes, break your legs.
Oh, Ms. Barrio,
Yeah, I hope it is on record, Judge. Just mainly, that dumbass business.
sorry, jail, whatever's going on next to the camera is really loud. Can we step away from?
Yeah, that's probably pleasure. Being treated like a piece of shit.
All right, Ms. Barrios. So on your new drug charges today, I'm going to give you what we refer to as a steps review hearing date, and that's going to be next week. We're going to do that on. Any objection to me putting this one in front of me on the 28th at 9?
No objection.
Mr. Poston?
None at all.
Right. So you'll see me in Superior Court next week on the 28th at 9 o'clock. At that hearing, you'll have an opportunity to meet with your attorney. Ms. Wright will be there. You'll also get connected to treatment providers and services if you do qualify for this pre-indictment diversion program. If you don't get transported for that hearing, it means that you didn't qualify, but you'll still be talking to your attorney about what you're going to do going forward. So the $500 bond, it will be cash or secured. If you post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial. You do have to stay in contact with pretrial services, participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms. Your next court date after that steps hearing is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. That's the preliminary hearing for your new drug charges. That hearing may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. So if you don't show up, they can issue a warrant for you. Do you understand your conditions of release on that case, Ms. Barrio?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So on the warrant out of Pima County Superior Court for the drug charges and failing to appear at arraignment, I'm going to impose the $250 bond on that as well. It is cash or secured, and you're under the same conditions of release we talked about. Ms. Wright is going to represent you. Your next hearing on that case is actually going to be the 29th at 1:30 in the afternoon, and that's the time for your arraignment on those charges. If you stay in custody or you're still in custody at that time, they'll transport you for that hearing. But if you bond out or we change your conditions next week on the 28th, you have to appear at that date and time or they're going to issue another warrant for you. Do you understand that, Ms. Barrios?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, let's talk about your justice court case. On that matter, I am going to release you. And your next court date in justice court is going to be June 2nd at 8:30 in the morning. And that's going to be in front of Judge Cornejo. If you are still in custody, they'll have you appear via video, but that'll be another date you need to make sure you attend or they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, ma'am.
If you get released, they'll have all these court dates. But if you talk with Miss Wright, she'll have all this information for you, okay?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today. I will see you next week.
He's gonna get paperwork. That sort of
It's okay. I'm not gonna be able to find out, so I'm gonna do it for a couple of minutes.
right. The limits of this. Yes. They go back to the lawyer, but
Had a seat back in it. They put it, One of my pages, yours, sir? They'll tell you. Yes, so is it counting?
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Ralph Houdin Fisher.
Mr. Fisher, you are here today on a charge of disorderly conduct involving weapons. This is a felony charge. You do have the right to, you have the right,
I have a weapon, I have a spoon.
you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney, and I'm gonna appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You have an attorney sitting next. Okay. Okay. Today? Well, we're gonna do this today, Mr. Fisher. Okay, well, here's how this works. If you want to listen to me about these charges today, you'll get a chance to talk to your attorney later. You can fight the charges and do whatever you want. If you, okay, you can be outraged. Mr. Fisher,
Sign it in over the internet.
So, Mr. Fisher, jail, we're not gonna, we're not, he's not gonna be able to cooperate today, so we're gonna reset this for tonight and see if that changes anything. Thank you. All right, so given Mr. Fisher's state, we're gonna reset this to this evening to see if he can have his initial appearance at that time. Hi, sir, tell me your name.
Christopher Scott Golden, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Golden, you are here today on a charge of possession of dangerous drugs, possession of narcotics drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, and also prescription drugs. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on these charges. These are felony offenses. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have an attorney seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review some information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. The report tells me that based on the charges, you could be eligible to participate in a pre-indictment diversion program. If you agree to substance abuse treatment, you qualify for the program and you successfully complete it, the state's not going to go forward with these felony charges. Are you interested in that program?
Very, ma'am.
All right. With that, I am inclined to release Mr. Golden to pretrial services today, give him the steps hearing next week. We'll leave that one on Thursday. And then are we willing to waive time for the preliminary hearing, Ms. Rubin?
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Golden, it looks like you have a general delivery address. Do you have somewhere that you're staying right now?
I'm staying by a church across from a gas station I'm working at. They just let me move in to a trailer they got.
Okay.
So it's not a record yet.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do today on these charges is release you to pretrial services. That's an agency of the court. You're going to have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment that they direct. You're not allowed to have any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. I'm going to set a hearing for you next week in Pima County Superior Court. It's going to be on May 29th at 9. That's going to be in front of Judge Constant at Pima County Superior Court. At that hearing, you're going to have an opportunity to meet with your attorney. You'll also have an opportunity to talk with people from our community about substance abuse treatment. Treatment providers are there in the courtroom, and if you qualify, you can get connected to the services right then and there. So that's May 29th at 9. It's important that you show up. If you don't, you can't be considered for this program. Ms. Rubin's going to write that date down for you. Your next hearing after that is going to be a preliminary hearing. That's going to happen on July 8th at 1:30. Normally, the state would have 20 days to indict you on these charges, but since they're looking at not going forward on them if you participate, we're going to extend that preliminary hearing out to 45 days. So that'll be the next date that you need to appear. Do you understand all your conditions of release, Mr. Golden?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And do you understand that if you don't show up for your court dates, they could issue a warrant for your arrest?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Make sure you attend that hearing next week on the 29th at 9. You're all done for today, Mr. Golden.
Have a great afternoon, ma'am.
You too. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Daniel Eugene Covert II.
Mr. Kovarik, you are here today on charges of disorderly conduct, criminal damage, threats and intimidation, and aggravated assault. There are multiple counts of each of those. Looks like you're also here on a warrant out of Pima County Superior Court as well. You do have the right to remain silent on all of these charges. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on these matters. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense in this case. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to conditions of release. It looks like they're asking for a $25,000 bond consecutive to the Pima County Superior Court warrant that was issued on April 10th.
So, Your Honor, my mistake there. It would just be straight 25,000 then.
Pima County Superior Court warrant for what?
Looks like criminal damage. It was a $15,000.
I was already in court for that.
Well, that's not what I'm showing. So that's the other bonds.
Superior Court, Judge, this is a police baton arrest. The police weren't enforcing my SWAT protection.
Okay, hang on, sir.
Okay.
We're here to talk about your conditions of release, and that's what we have to talk about here today.
Okay.
So because of the procedural posture with these, they are going to have to be consecutive bonds. I am inclined to impose a $30,000 cash or secured bond on the current matter and then impose the $15,000 bond being requested by Superior Court on the other matter. Does either party need to be heard on conditions?
That's fine, Your Honor.
And I'm just to clarify, it looks like that the March 17th case, it was initially charged as a misdemeanor. I'm showing but it sounds like they upgraded it to a felony.
But I was already in court for that, and I have a pending court date for that.
Right, and it says, if you look on his criminal history, it says in Green Valley, it says March 17th, and then it says he was released on bond.
Yeah, I was already released for that. I'm sorry.
And then he has a court date on June 13th of 2025. But then again, it looks like they may have upgraded that to a felony now. If you look at the warrant, which is the same date.
Who was it for? Who was the defendant? For the victim?
Yeah.
Oh, my parents?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I know pretrial services is showing, and they say that it lists a $5,000 bond. I am looking at the warrant that was signed by Judge Goodwin, and it says $15,000, not $5,000.
Okay.
And it does, I don't have any other. It looks like the warrant was.
I'm just going to clarify for him because he said he was already arrested on that. That is.
Yeah, I'm still pending for that.
It looks like it's going to be a felony now.
Right. Okay. All right. So today on the new charges, sir, you're going to be held on a $30,000 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You are going to have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. You are not allowed to return to that incident location or have any contact with the victims in this case. Do you understand all those conditions on your new matter?
Yes, Judge. I don't understand why it's on. It's part of my SWAT protection.
The next court date for you is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. That hearing may or may not occur, but you are expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, a warrant could issue for your arrest.
Sure.
Do you understand that?
Sure. Yes, Judge.
And then on your other case, this is the one where there is a bond. I am going to impose a $15,000 cash or secured bond at this time based on the warrant. Again, if you do get released, you'll be released to pretrial with the same conditions the court previously mentioned, including not returning to the incident location or having any contact with the victim. Your next hearing in that case is going to be May 29th at 1:30. And that's going to be your arraignment. If you remain in custody, the jail will make sure you get to your court hearings. But if you bond out, you do have to make sure you show up. If you don't, they'll issue warrants for you. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Judge.
All right, you're all done for today.
Sure.
Let's talk about this case to your lawyer.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So I just keep these?
Yeah, and you'll get
All
other paperwork too.
Hi, tell me your name.
Aaron Rivera, Monoyoki.
Mr. Ronioke, you are here today on a charge of resisting arrest. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had a chance to review information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had an opportunity to review the state's recommendation. They are asking for a $2,500 bond. I'm inclined to release to pretrial services. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rubin?
No, Your Honor.
So, sir, I'm going to release you today to the custody of pretrial services. What that means is you're going to be required to stay in contact with that agency while this case is going on. If they ask you to participate in monitoring or treatment, you have to do that. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, obviously no illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all those conditions of release?
Yes.
Your next court date is going to be June 11th at 1:30. That's going to be a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur. You're going to be out of custody, so it's going to be important that you stay in contact with your attorney in case that date changes. If you
All
fail,
right.
if you fail to appear for your court dates, they could issue warrants for your arrest. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, you're all done for today.
All right. Thank you. Listen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, tell me your name.
Justin and Ray Morton.
Mr. Morton, you are here on a few different matters today. One is going to be a felony charge involving criminal damage, disorderly conduct. Looks like there's a felony criminal damage charge and also a misdemeanor criminal damage charge. And then I have about 10 city court files sitting in front of me telling me that you have a lot of matters pending in that court that you have not taken care of. So we're here today to talk about your conditions of release. Looks like these are probation revocation matters in Tucson City Courts. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I am going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you, and you do have an attorney seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. On the felony charge, I have had a chance to review information provided by pretrial services that actually tells me a little bit about you and the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation as to your conditions of release. They're asking for a $10,000 bond. I am inclined to impose a bond given the city court matters, but I was going to impose a $2,500 cash or secured bond. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rubin?
I'd just point out he's living with his father and he's a lifelong resident.
So, Mr. Morton, on the felony charge today, I'm going to impose a bond in the amount of $2,500. That's going to be cash or secured. If that bond is posted, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You do have to stay in contact with that agency and your attorney. If they ask you to participate in any monitoring or treatment, you do need to do that. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you can't have any firearms. You're also not allowed to return to the incident location, and you cannot have any contact with the victims. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yes, sir.
Your next court date in the felony matter is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're going to be expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear for your court dates, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now we need to talk about your city court matters. Give me just one moment. Give us just a second. I need the city court clerk to help me with some paperwork on these other cases. Looks like he failed to appear for the arraignment on the petition to revoke. It's not any of these. Give us just a second, sir. Hang on. They're not there. All right, so the city court matters, you are here because you failed to appear for your arraignment on the petition to revoke probation on a number of cases and a number of charges involving drug paraphernalia, disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, failing to comply with court orders and domestic violence cases, fighting criminal damage, interfering with judicial proceeding, and shoplifting. So again, I think there's 8 or 10 cases, different cases with those charges. For that, I am going to impose a bond in that case of $500. That bond is going to be a cash bond. If you post that bond, then you'll be released on your city court case. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you on this matter. Your next court date is going to be a video review hearing on May 30th at 1:45. So if you're still in custody, you're going to appear via video, much like you're doing today in front of Judge Mayhew. If you post bond, that $500 cash bond on these matters, and you get released, your next court date is going to be June 30th at 9:30 in the morning. And you are going to be required to appear at that date and time. If you don't, they're going to issue another warrant for you. Don't have any contact with the victims or return to the incident locations in those cases. Do you understand the conditions for your city court case, sir?
Yes, sir.
And do you understand that if you don't show up, they could issue another warrant for you?
Yes, sir.
Make sure you show up, sir. It is something that will be important in order for you to get this matter resolved. The petition to revoke probation does tell me that it was October 22nd of 2024 that you were guilty of the charges I previously mentioned and placed on probation for a period of 12 months, beginning October 22nd of 2024. You did sign conditions of release, and they are alleging that you violated your probation for failing to complete your CSM intake, the failure to complete domestic violence intake, failure to submit to substance abuse or complete a substance alcohol evaluation and treatment. So that is the information that the court has today on your petition to revoke probation. Any questions about any of that, sir? And you're going to be in front of Judge Mayhew for the hearing. All right?
Great.
You're all done for today.
Thank you. I got it.
All right, let me know if I forgot to sign anything on that one. And then that goes in his files. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Kevin Renaud.
Mr. Renaud, you are here today on felony charges of dangerous drug possession and possession of drug paraphernalia. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. This is the time for your initial appearance. We're going to talk about your conditions of release. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing today. I have reviewed information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $2,500 bond on this case. It does look like you have, well, let's see. Jail, what do you have? I show, at least on my sheet, that there was a superior court hold, but I'm not.
Probation hold.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. It's a probation hold.
I've got it. Thank you. So regardless of what we do on these charges today, Mr. Renaud, you're going to be held on that probation matter. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
With that, I am inclined to impose a $1,000 bond. I am going to give him the steps review hearing date, and if the parties don't object, I'll set that in front of me as well. Mr. Poston, do you need to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Rubin,
No,
any objection to having it one day earlier and set in front of me?
that's fine.
Right. So on that matter, Mr. Renaud, I am going to impose a $1,000 cash or secured bond and release you to pretrial services if you post that bond. If you post the bond, you have to stay in contact with pretrial. You're not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs, and you can't have any firearms while the case is going on. If you are willing to participate in substance abuse treatment, you qualify for the program and you successfully complete it, then the state will not go forward with these felony charges against you. Is that something that you're interested in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to schedule a hearing for you next Wednesday, May 28th at 9 o'clock in front of me. And at that time, if you qualify for the program, if you're still in custody, the jail will transport you to the courtroom. You'll have a chance to meet with your attorney, pretrial services, and we also have substance abuse treatment providers right there in the courtroom so that you can get connected to services. And they will start assisting you in custody and can make arrangements for you whenever you get out of custody as well. And they'll work with probation. All right. Your next hearing after that May 28th hearing is going to be a preliminary hearing, and that's going to be on June 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. Again, if you're still in custody, the jail will transport you to your next hearings, but if you post bond, you have to make sure you show up and stay in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for you. Do you understand that as well, Mr. Renaud? Do you, do you understand if you don't show up for court, they can issue a warrant for you?
Yeah.
Right. You're all done for today, sir.
You're being held on your.
Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
Dustin Richard.
Okay, Richard, you were here today on a charge of aggravated DUI. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney in this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. They prepare a report for the court that tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offenses. I will note that there is a pending DUI out of Tucson City Court as well. The state has requested a $7,500 bond on this matter. That is my inclination. Mr. Poston, did you want to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Ms. Rubin?
Just, he is living in Tucson for 2 years, full time. Again, other than that misdemeanor DUI, he doesn't have any felony criminal history.
Mr. Richard, I am going to impose a bond today of $7,500 cash or secured. If you post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial services. You must stay in contact with that agency if you get released. This is a alcohol-related offense, and they will require you to participate in monitoring or treatment. You do have to do that as a condition of your release. You are not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol, obviously no illegal drugs, and you are not allowed to drive without a valid license. You do not have a valid license. You should not be behind the wheel of any vehicle. You're not allowed to have any firearms while this case is going on. Your next court date is going to be June 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're responsible for showing up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the conditions of release that I've imposed today?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing?
Your Honor.
You're all done for today. Hi, sir. Tell me your name.
David Thomas.
Mr. Tomlinson, you're here on a few different matters today. First one are felony drug charges involving narcotic drug possession and dangerous drug possession. We also have some city court matters that we need to talk about as well. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on these felony matters. I am going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you today, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of today's hearing. We're talking about your conditions of release. I reviewed information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense. I did note that pretrial did not show that he was eligible for steps.
It's because it's a sale.
Ah,
Do I have a drug problem? I don't sell stuff.
okay. Mr. Tomlinson, hang on. So your drug charge is a for sale drug charge. That's something you'll have the opportunity to talk with your attorney about. Today, we're just here to talk about conditions of release. The state is asking for a $7,500 cash or secured bond. Mr. Poston, did you need to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Ms. Rubin?
He's got ties to the community. He's lived there for 33 years and he indicates he's employed part-time.
I got a job, and I've been doing good.
So, sir, today I am going to impose a $5,000 cash or secured bond. If you're able to post that bond, then you'll be released to pretrial. You do have to participate in any monitoring or treatment they direct. You are not allowed to possess or consume any alcohol and definitely no illegal drugs. You can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yeah, I was told that it was possession, not sales was involved in it because I wasn't selling.
He'll talk to your lawyer.
Yeah, you're going to have to talk to your lawyer about that because it does have possession of a dangerous drug, but the unlawful possession of a narcotic drug, because of the amount that you have, you're being charged with a sale charge. So you need to talk with your attorney about that and see what happens going forward. Your next hearing is June 2nd at 1:30 in the afternoon. That's a preliminary hearing. That hearing may or may not take place, but you are responsible for showing up at all future hearings. And if you fail to appear, they can issue a warrant for your arrest. So if you post that bond, it's important you stay in contact with your attorney so you don't miss court. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear for your hearing? Right. We now need to talk about your city cases. It looks like you have multiple warrants for failing to appear for theft, false reporting, criminal trespass, shoplifting, drug paraphernalia. I am going to appoint an attorney for you in that matter. It looks like Sal Huerta previously represented you, so I am going to appoint him on this matter as well. I am going to impose a $100 cash or secured bond on this matter. And that will be all your city court matters combined. We're going to set another court date for you of May 30th at 1:45. That's going to be a video review hearing, much like you're doing here today. If you remain in custody, you'll appear via video like this in front of a city court judge to see if you can get those charges taken care of. If you post your bond, both on the felony case and this one, then your court date is going to be July 2nd at 1:30, and you will have to show up at Tucson City Court. Mr. Huerta, I'm sure will be in touch with you so that you'll have an opportunity to talk with him about how to resolve these cases. Do not return to any of the incident locations wherever those criminal trespasses and thefts occurred. There are victims there and you can't go back there. Do you understand the conditions of release in your city case, Mr. Tomlinson?
Yeah.
And then same thing, if you don't show up, they can issue a warrant for you. So make sure if you bond out, you show up for your hearings, okay? You're all done for today.
Okay.
Hey, sir, tell me your name.
Elias Valenzuela.
Mr. Valenzuela, you were here today for a charge of possessing a narcotic drug for sale. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You do have the right to an attorney on this matter. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you, and you do have counsel seated with you for purposes of the hearing here today. I've had an opportunity to review information provided by pretrial services. That report tells me a little bit about you as well as the circumstances of the offense in this case. I've also had a chance to review the state's recommendation. They're asking for a $50,000 bond. Mr. Poston, I do note no criminal history on this one. Did you want to be heard on conditions?
Are you talking to me?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, the sound cut out. Are we speaking about Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes. So I do know he doesn't appear to have any felony convictions. I know the recommendation is $50,000.
We're looking at over a kilo of cocaine, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's the basis for your request?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rubin, I am inclined to impose a bond on this case, just not that high.
I really appreciate that.
Mr. Valenzuela, hang on. I need to hear from Ms. Rubin.
He indicates he's working full-time as a truck driver. He's lived in Arizona his whole life, in Phoenix, and he doesn't have any felony criminal history. And his PSA score is really low.
So I am going to impose a bond, Mr. Valenzuela, but it's going to be a $10,000 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, then you're going to be released to pretrial services. You have to stay in contact with that agency, participate in any monitoring or treatment that they ask you to. You are not allowed to possess or consume alcohol and obviously no illegal drugs. You also can't have any firearms while this case is going on. Do you understand all of those conditions of release?
Yeah.
All right, your next court date is going to be June 2nd at 1:30. That's going to be a preliminary hearing. That court date may or may not occur, but you're expected to show up at all future court dates. And if you fail to appear, they could issue a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences if you fail to appear?
Yes.
You're all done for today, sir.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your help today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Good day, Your Honor.
rise.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. Can we look at any interpreter matters? This is the 11 a.m. initial appearance calendar. Oh, here come these two of the Phoenix guys. This is the 11 a.m. initial appearance calendar for May 22nd, 2025. The court's orders for the taking of fingerprints and DNA samples made on the 2 a.m. calendar on the first of the month will also apply to these hearings. We're going to start with Mr. Jackson, Jarrell Jackson. If you come all the way to the podium, you will be first. After that, Catherine Rocha, will you please wait at the chair just inside the door? Catherine Rocha will be next. Mr. Jackson, Jarrell Jackson. Sorry? Yeah, podium. Hello, sir. Can I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
Joe Jackson, 1905.
All right, thank you. You're here on four things. One is a new arrest. I've got two in-county probation warrants and one out of county. So I'm going to start with your new arrest. You were booked in on a new charge of armed robbery as a Class 2 felony. There is probable cause for that, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date will be a status conference May 29th, which is this coming Thursday, 1 week from today, May 29th, 8:30 in the morning, with a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30. So again, that is the new case. You also have to go to probation court in Maricopa County because there are already warrants out for you in your two probation cases. Petitions to revoke your probation were filed back on April 14th. The petitions allege that you violated terms 3, 4, 5, and 15. So you get copies of those petitions from your lawyer. I am appointing a lawyer for you in those cases.
Hey, Ben, real quick. Oh, shit.
No, you can ask a question about what I just said. If you're raising a new topic, I'm not done yet. Okay. Then you're also hearing a warrant from Pinal County Superior Court, where it appears you are on probation. You're probably being courtesy supervised here, but the revocation proceedings are happening in Pinal County. So they want to see you. I'm going to let them know they should give you a lawyer when you get there. Your arraignment hearing is scheduled May 28th in Pinal County, 8:30 in the morning. That address is on your paperwork. In the new case, the armed robbery case, your bond is $25,000 secured with written release conditions. In the two Maricopa County probation cases, you are held without bond because the court finds there is, in all reasonable probability, you are going to be revoked to prison in those cases. In the Pinal case, I'm just going to affirm their $500 secured appearance bond. That's all they set. You shouldn't try to post bond in the two cases that you do have bond, though. If you're still being held without bond in the probation cases, in the armed robbery case, if you're out of custody, you cannot go to that location. You can't have any contact with any of the witnesses there, etc. Now, what's your question?
So I'm probably going to go to prison now.
The court only works on probabilities. You're not convicted yet on the new charge. You haven't been found to have violated your probation. On probabilities, the court finds there is a high probability that you are going to go to prison on one or more of these cases, and that factors into the court's bond decision. But you're a long way from being done with the cases. This is just the beginning. So you do have a lawyer to help you. Your lawyer will help you try to predict outcomes. All right, if you step to your left, they're going to send out your paperwork. Ms. Rocha, Catherine Rocha. After that, Francisco Hernandez, will you please go to the chair? Hello, ma'am, may I have your full name and your date of birth?
Catherine Nora Rocha, September 19th, 1977.
All right, thank you. You are here on one new case, one probation case, and a warrant in a pending case. I'm going to start with the new arrest. You're arrested on a new allegation from yesterday of possessing narcotic drugs, a class 4 felony. There is probable cause for it. I am appointing a lawyer for you. You should end up with the same lawyer for all 3 of your cases. And you have this case is brand new, so it's going to get slightly different court dates. I'm sure they will all come together eventually. So in this brand new case, you need to go to a status conference May 29th, which is 1 week from today at 8:30 in the morning. Your preliminary hearing is set for June 2nd at 8:30. That'll be on your paperwork. Now, the other 2 warrants are for failing to appear at the same hearing in front of the trial judge, and that was in a pending case, which is number 15 on the calendar, where you are pending trial for theft of means of transportation, a class 3 felony, possession of dangerous and narcotic drugs, those are class 4 felonies, and this warrant issued after you failed to appear at a pretrial conference on November 5th of last year. That same court hearing was also a non-witness violation hearing in your probation case, so that was November 5th of last year, so a warrant went out for you in that case as well. You already have a lawyer in those cases. So we're going to give you a status conference in front of the trial judge, and I think we've probably said it wrong. Oh, no, okay. Oh, I see. Sorry. Yeah, it's a non-witness violation hearing. I feel like it should be a post-warrant status conference, but they'll know. Okay, it's fine. So we're going to send you same date and time in front of the same trial judge, June 2nd, 8:30 in the morning. All right, in the brand new case from yesterday, because there is a probable cause for a new felony, while you have a pending felony case, I have to hold you for a bail hearing. So in the brand new case, I cannot give you bail today. You're going to be held at least until a bail hearing. That is going to be the afternoon of May 29th. So same day as your status conference, that afternoon at 1:30, you'll have a bail hearing for the new case only. You may or may not be granted bail. In the older cases, I'm going to just affirm the trial judge's bond, and that is $5,000 secured per case. So you don't have bond at all in the new case today, and you have $10,000 total in the other 2 cases. You shouldn't try to post those, though, if you're still being held no bond in the new case. But you should see your lawyer for all that the morning of the bail hearing, and you can talk to them about what's going to happen. Thank you. He's got your paperwork for you. All right, Mr. Hernandez, Francisco Hernandez. Then Kyle Melendez, we go to the chair. Hello, sir. Can you take your hat off for me, please? All right, thank you. Sir, can I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Francisco Hernandez, 04-1596.
All right, thanks. You're on a new case. You got arrested for third-degree burglary, a class 4 felony, and shoplifting, a class 1 misdemeanor. There is probable cause for those, and I am appointing a lawyer to represent you. Your next court date in this case is a status conference May 29th at 8:30 in the morning in the downtown Superior Court, with a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30 in the same court. And let me double check that we did give you a bail hearing. You have an open and pending felony case. This is on top of your probation matters, and I didn't direct them to file a hold on you. You could be held no bond today in your probation cases, but you're about to get held no bond in this case, so I didn't bother. But this would be a new violation of your probation cases. So also, I note this is your 3rd felony arrest in 7 days, and right now the county attorney hasn't charged those earlier ones. Doesn't mean they can't or they won't. They just didn't. So looks like what you're out on release for case number 2025-121187. Your initial appearance was yesterday. You were released at 10:45 a.m. yesterday. So you're not bondable in the case today because you have an open and pending felony case. That's the one from yesterday, and there's probable cause for a new felony. So you are held without bail pending the outcome of a bail hearing. So your status conference in this case is in 1 week. It's the morning of May 29th at 8:30. That afternoon at 1:30 p.m., you'll have a bail hearing. That's the evidentiary hearing on your paperwork. Finally, June 2nd at 8:30, you'll have a preliminary hearing. So again, you are ordered held without bond, and you'll see your lawyer on this new case in a week. All right, let's get him his paperwork, and then we'll have Kyle Melendez come all the way to the podium. Hello, sir. Can I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
Kyle Melendez, May 21st, 1996.
All right, thank you. You're here on a total of 3 matters, 2 arrest warrants and a probation violation warrant. I'm going to start with number 3 on the calendar. That is a newly Charged case, you've been charged in a criminal complaint with unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle, a Class 5 felony. The alleged offense date is April 20th of 2024. This comes out of the Gilbert Police Department. You'll get a copy of that charge and police reports from your lawyer, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your other newly filed case, the charges are 2 counts of aggravated DUI, each a Class 4 felony, 1 count of unlawful use of a means of transportation, which is a Class 5 felony. The alleged offense date for those is October 27th of 2024, and this comes out of the Tempe Police Department. But again, you'll get the police reports and charges from your lawyer. Your next court dates will be the same. That is a status conference May 29th at 8:30 and a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30. Now, in the probation case, there was a warrant issued for your arrest. You remain on probation for a Class 3 felony. On May 8th, there was a petition to revoke filed, alleging that you violated terms 1 and 15. And the term 1 violations, oh, you know what? I need to reprint number 2. Okay, because they have already actually alleged the term 1 allegations against you. Term 1 means the new charges, as well as, I believe, restitution or whatever else is left. So you'll get a copy of the petition listing the alleged violations at your next court date. That's going to be May 29th at 8:30 in the morning. It's a revocation, arraignment, and possible disposition hearing. All right, I'm going to affirm the bonds in the newly charged cases. That is $20,000 per case. In the probation case, this court believes there is a substantial probability you're going to be revoked to prison, but the judge who issued that warrant did know about these new cases and gave you a bond. This court believes the appropriate bond is $10,000. It is secured. So your total bond across the 3 cases is $50,000 with release conditions. If you bond out, comply with all of those. Call your PO within 72 hours of any release. He's going to have your paperwork for you here as soon as it's sorted out. You can step out to your left. All right. Why don't you go ahead and have him have a seat? Okay, go ahead and have a seat. We'll send that out to you. Okay, thanks.
This is number 2.
Yeah, just number 2. All right, Mr. Macaloyo, and then Ira Jolly, will you please go to the chair? I may have called Jolly, I don't think so, but sometimes my eyes don't go correctly. I need Macaloyo and then Jolly. Thank you. Hello, sir. May I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
Xavier Edgar Emilio McElroy, 03/15/1990.
Thank you. You're here on a new case. You were arrested for aggravated assault on a first responder, which is a Class 4 felony, resisting arrest, a Class 6 felony, and obstructing a public roadway, which is a misdemeanor. There is probable cause for all of those, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date is the status conference, May 29th at 8:30 in the morning, which is 1 week from today, with a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30 in the same court. Your bond is $2,500. It is secured. If you bond out, comply with all of your written conditions. The officer's going to give you a copy of those. Those include don't go to the scene of the alleged crimes, no contact with the alleged victim, or any of the arresting officers. He's got that for you right here. All right, thank you. Then Mr. Jolly, you can come in after that. Charles Snow, will you go to the chair? You're all done, sir. Hello, sir. May I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
Ira Wade Jolly, 11/16/1979.
All right, thank you. You're here on a new case and 2 warrants. In the new case, you were arrested for theft of a means of transportation, a Class 3 felony, 3 allegations of possession of a forged instrument. Those are Class 4 felonies. 1 allegation of identity theft. It's a Class 4 felony. 1 allegation of driving on a suspended, revoked, or without a license. That's a Class 1 misdemeanor. There is probable cause for all of those. I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date in this felony case will be a status conference in 1 week, May 29th at 8:30 in the morning. Preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30. Those will be in the downtown Superior Court, and the address will be on your paperwork. You're also here on 2 warrants from the West Mesa Justice Court. They are both for failing to appear on citations for criminal speeding. Those are Class 3 misdemeanors. And your arraignment hearing in the West Mesa Justice Court will be May 28th at 8:30 in the morning. That is for both of those cases. In the new felony case, your bond is $2,500 secured. In each of the misdemeanors, it's $250 secured for $3,000 total, with written conditions that include no contact with any alleged victims or co-defendants, no going to the scene of the alleged crimes. Now, what is your question?
I paid the outstanding warrant on those 2 cases in Mesa. So, now those warrants are no longer, they're not existent because it was paid yesterday.
Well, apparently that paperwork hasn't come through, so the court is not going to take your word on that. If and when that does come through, that'll clear through this jail. So everything else is going to be on your paperwork. He's going to give you a copy of that. All right, Mr. Snow, you can come in. And then Alexis Mendoza, we go to the chair. Hello, sir. Can I have your full name and date of birth, please? What's your name? Mr. Snow, can you hear me? Do you have hearing problems?
Yeah, my ears ring really loud.
Okay, we're gonna try to get you some. Well, you want to try shutting the door? We'll try that first, because that usually works. It's easier than the headphones. Just 1 second, because there's an echo. 1 second. Thank you, officer. Okay. Is that better, or would you like headphones?
It's a little better.
Would you like
It's
headphones?
fine.
Okay, let's get the headphones. Okay, you can open that then, because it doesn't affect the headphones. We're gonna get you the headphones. Hold on.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm gonna talk, oops, turn it down a little. There, yeah, show them the volume button. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking, give me a thumbs up, or we can try switching the channel. Officer, if it doesn't, you usually test it before you hand it over, right? Okay. Channel 1, and maybe turn it down. Yeah, volume's on top. Okay, testing. Is that better? Okay, all right, there you go. All right, sir, can you tell me your full name and date of birth?
Charles D.M. Snow, 6/14/82.
All right, thank you. You're here on a new case. You were arrested for aggravated assault in violation of a protective order. That's a Class 6 felony. Disobeying a court order. That's called interfering with judicial proceedings. 2 allegations, each a Class 1 misdemeanor. There is probable cause for all of those, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date is a status conference, May 29th, which is 1 week from today at 8:30 in the morning, with a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30. The address is on your paperwork. You have a $2,500 secured appearance bond and written release conditions that include ankle monitoring if you do post the bond, and that will be explained to you if and when you post a bond. The purpose of the ankle monitor is to keep you away from the alleged victim. Even if you are the owner or renter of the residence, you may not live where the alleged victim is living. You may do a civil standby one time with a law enforcement officer to collect belongings, and then you have to prove to pretrial services that you're staying somewhere else that's within 24 hours of any release. No contact with the alleged victim. Even if she contacts you first, you may not respond. No weapons, no drugs, no alcohol. You have to obey that order of protection. And be aware, I put the statute in your paperwork, that it is a felony to violate this order in any way that constitutes harassment of an alleged victim. It's a misdemeanor to violate an order of protection. It is a felony to violate this order if you do it in a way that a court finds is harassment. That can be one phone call, one text. You could be held without bond on the new felony charge. So I'm telling you that because I want you to take your release conditions extremely seriously. The situation got much more serious than it was when it was just an order of protection. You are now here on a felony charge. You can be held without bond if you violate this order in any way that is harassment of the alleged victim. So be very careful to comply with it. Everything's going to be on your paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mendoza? Where's Alexis Mendoza? Or Mr. Mendoza, I apologize. And then Caleb Romero, we go to the chair. Hello, sir. May I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
Alexis Mendoza, 07/22/94.
All right, thank you. You're here on 3 probation warrants. You're on probation in 3 felony cases, and there were petitions to revoke your probation filed in all of those 3 cases on May 5th. The petitions allege that you violated terms 3 and 5. You'll get a copy of them from your lawyer. I am appointing a lawyer to represent you. Your next court date in the probation court will be 1 week from today, which is May 29th at 8:30 in the morning for a revocation, arraignment, and possible disposition hearing. And I'm affirming the bond that the probation judge gave you. So in number 5 on the calendar, your bond is $500 secured. In the other 2 cases, it's $250 secured. That is $1,000 total. If you bond out, comply with all of your written conditions and call your PO within 72 hours. Everything you need to know is going to be on your paperwork.
So I will not be released?
Not unless you post $1,000. He's got your paperwork for you. Mr. Romero? And then January Ramirez will be next, but you can stay seated if you're right there.
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right. Hi, sir. Can I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Caleb Andrew Romero, 3/31/1998.
All right. Thank you. You're hearing a warrant from the Parker Justice Court where you've been charged with driving on a suspended license. It's a Class 1 misdemeanor. Your arraignment hearing is scheduled for May 28th at 8:30 in the morning in the Parker Justice Court. So that is this coming Wednesday. Your bond is $500. It is secured. If you bond out, comply with all of your conditions, and do not miss that court date. Everything is on your paperwork. If you step to your left, they're going to give you a copy of it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Ramirez, January Ramirez. And then Rory Jefferson, we go to the chair. Hello, ma'am. May I have your full name and date of birth, please?
January Ramirez, 4/12/02.
All right, thank you. You're here on 2 matters. One is a new case, one is a probation case. In the new case, you were arrested for possessing dangerous and narcotic drugs. Those are Class 4 felonies. Drug paraphernalia possession, which is a Class 6 felony. There is probable cause for those, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. You're also here on a probation violation warrant. You are on felony probation, and there was a petition to revoke your probation filed on April 29th, alleging that you violated terms 3 and 5. You'll get a copy of that from your lawyer, and as I said, I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date will be the same for both cases. It is 1 week from today, May 29th at 8:30 in the morning. Then you're also going to have a preliminary hearing June 2nd at 8:30. That's going to be in the new case only. In the probation case, your bond is $500 secured. In the new case, it is $50 secured, so $550 total. If you bond out, comply with all of your conditions and call your PO within 72 hours. If you step to your left, he's got that paperwork for you. Mr. Jefferson? And then Carlos Aviles, we go to the chair. Hi, sir, can I have your full name and date of birth, please?
I'm Roy Jefferson, 10382, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. You're here on 2 probation warrants. You're on probation in 2 different cases, and there were petitions to revoke filed in both of your cases on May 12th. The petitions allege that you violated terms 3, 4, 5, and 15. You'll get copies of those from your lawyer. I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court date is 1 week from today, which is May 29th at 8:30 in the morning. It is a revocation arraignment and possible disposition hearing in the downtown probation court. I'm affirming the bond that the probation judge gave you. That's $250 per case for $500 total. If you bond out, comply with all of your written conditions, and don't miss your court dates. You have to call your PO as well, and the number is on your paperwork. Thank you. Mr. Aviles, you're all done, sir. Thanks. And then Jonathan McCabe, we go to the chair.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, sir. May I have your full name and your date of birth, please?
10/25/86. And what was the first?
Your name?
Carlo Aviles.
Okay, thank you. You are here on a new case. You got arrested for criminal damage in an amount over $1,000. That's a Class 6 felony.
Okay. Oh,
Criminal trespass of a residential structure. That's a Class 6 felony. And criminal damage in the amount of $500 or more, which is a Class 1 misdemeanor. There is probable cause for all of those, and I am appointing a lawyer to represent you.
Okay.
Your next court date will be a status conference June 5th, which is 2 weeks from now at 8:30 in the morning. Preliminary hearing June 9th at 8:30. The address is on your paperwork, and I am inclined to release you on an ankle monitor. No bond required. You'll have to drug and alcohol test. The purpose of the ankle monitor is to keep you away from that apartment complex. It does not look like you live there, according to police.
Okay.
On Guadalupe Road, you don't live there. They report that you live on Calle Azteca.
Yeah.
You were arrested at 5150 East Guadalupe Road.
I stay at that apartment. I stay at that apartment, but
well, okay, you can't live there or go there. Then you're going to have to find, I'm going to make it more clear.
I got you.
No, you have to find an alternative. I mean, I seriously doubt management is going to let you anyway.
Okay.
That's very unlikely. But on these facts, no, I don't know what was happening, what may have actually happened. I just find probable cause for things.
Okay.
But no, this This is already borderline for getting a bond. That's why you're getting an ankle monitor.
Okay. How long is that ankle monitor for?
Until another judge orders it taken off. So talk to your lawyer, and I always tell people, the better you do on it, the more compliant you are, the better an argument your lawyer has that it's not necessary.
Okay.
So, but if you're a giant screw-up on it, we will issue a warrant for your arrest. If you're a little bit of a screw-up, the court's not going to let them take it off, because it means, yeah, you probably do need one.
Okay.
So you need to show you can comply with court orders. If you show that, then it starts to look like a waste of money, and your lawyer has a good argument to get it taken off.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to put you, fine.
And I leave from here with the ankle monitor?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right, you have to final term residence within 24 hours of release. All right, so you got to find alternative residence, provide proof to pretrial services within 24 hours after release, and you can't go to that apartment complex except you can do a civil standby with a law enforcement officer to collect some belongings.
Gotcha.
All right, everything else is going to be on your paperwork. We need to reprint that, so go ahead and have a seat. We're going to send it out to you.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. McCabe?
Yes, have a good day. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Johnson McCabe, please. Mr. McCabe, and then after that, Brett Pemble, will you please go to the chair? Hello, sir. Can I have your full name and your date of birth?
Jonathan Maurice McCabe, 9/25/1976.
All right, thank you. You're here on a new case. You got arrested for unlawful use of a means of transportation, both as a driver and a passenger. The charge for the driver is a Class 5 felony. The charge as a passenger is a Class 6 felony. Also, possession of drug paraphernalia, that's a Class 6 felony. I do find probable cause for all three of those allegations, and I am appointing a lawyer for you. Your next court dates will be in a couple weeks. The first is a status conference, June 5 at 8:30 in the morning in the downtown Superior Court. Your preliminary hearing will be June 9 at 8:30 in the morning, same court. And on these facts, this type of case, I am going to release you to pretrial services. I'm not going to make you wear an ankle monitor because I'm not worried about you being trouble to anyone in a specific place. So I don't do ankle monitors to help people appear because people either will or won't appear.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a prior, it's a little bit old, from Oklahoma. You got some, misdemeanors and stuff, but I'm not showing any felonies for you, other than that, the old one. And this is not violent. So I'm going to give you a chance to show whether you will or won't go to court. If you don't go to court, you're going to get arrested and
Yes,
there
ma'am.
will be a bond.
I will be
So,
there, Sydney.
don't go to the scene of the alleged crimes. That's wherever the car may have come from. If you don't know, okay, I guess you're okay on that. But no contact with any alleged victim. That would be whoever owns the car. If you don't know, then you're probably okay on that. But talk to your lawyer. Your lawyer will get more detailed info about who the owner is. No weapons, no drugs without a valid prescription. If you end up with a co-defendant, I don't see one right now. Doesn't mean you won't. I order no contact with any co-defendant. But the other person may never end up arrested or charged. Who knows? That's up to the police. So everything is on your paperwork. Also, don't possess weapons. You are a prohibited possessor, so don't possess weapons. Don't drive without a valid license.
Sure.
Can you do those things and show up for court in 2 weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you are released to pretrial services. Don't lose the envelope. It tells you where to call after you get out. You're going to get released, but the instructions for pretrial services are in that envelope, so
Okay.
don't lose it. If you step to your left, I've got it. What's your
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Mr. Pemble, and then Stanton Yellowman, will you please go to the chair? Stanton Yellowman? All right. Hello, sir, can I have your full name and date of birth?
Brett Joseph Pemble, March 26, 1986.
All right, thanks. You got picked up on a new misdemeanor case. 3 allegations. The court found probable cause for 2 of them based on what was alleged, not the third, which I'll explain in a moment. The 2 as to which there is probable cause are shoplifting, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and criminal trespass, a Class 3 misdemeanor. There is not, for purposes of this hearing only, probable cause on the drug paraphernalia allegation, which is also a misdemeanor, as currently alleged. It does not mean it's dismissed. It just means I'm not setting release conditions for it. And so it'll be up to, where's this case going? City court. It'll be up to the city attorney's office in Peoria what they might formally charge you with. But I'm not appointing a lawyer for you because I'm going to release you. I am aware that you are pending trial in a felony case. So if you did this, your defense attorney is not going to be really happy with you, but they will be livid if you pick up a warrant in this case while the felony is pending. So I'm relying on that to hopefully help you grow a clue, which is you have to go to court. You are presumed innocent in this Peoria case just as you are in the felony case. But if you don't show up, you will catch a warrant, and then you will cause yourself a world of hurt in the felony case. So talk to your lawyer about this. You should definitely call them and tell them that this happened. Your court date in this Peoria case, June 10 at 9 in the morning. That is in the Peoria City Court. The address is on your paperwork. Obviously, don't go to the scene of the alleged crime. They allege you have been formally trespassed from that location. And I'm showing your next court date. I think you are literally awaiting trial in the other case. You're on master calendar, trial assignment. Right now, this is fun. Your next court date, your final trial management conference. Do you know the date?
22nd at 2:30.
That's today. So you may make it, you may not. You do me a favor. This is not so much a favor to you, it's partially a favor to you. Can you email Mandel's division and just tell them that this defendant got arrested? I guess I don't know if you're going to be over there by 2:30 this afternoon. That's 3 hours from now. That's pretty iffy. So that can prevent a warrant there, but I'm not telling you not to go. I don't have the power to tell you not to go. But if you go and it's afterward, then they could tell you a new court date. So what I'm trying to do is to set it up so that if you get out, you should. It's not that busy. Hopefully you get over there downtown by like 4:30. You run up there and you say, here's my release paperwork. I just got out. Did I get a new court date? What's the deal? Just go show your face to stop a warrant from going out.
Okay.
So in any event, we will email Mandel's division just to tell them you got arrested. You're going to try to make it. We are not so sure that you can, but I am not, and this is being recorded. I am ordering you to go to Mandel's division the moment that you're released, okay? All right. Just want that to be super clear. People like to go, well, she told me I didn't have to go. I wouldn't make it. Oh, I did not say that. So today, your pretrial conference is currently set for June 10th, which is the date that I have to give you in Peoria. So be aware, if that date continues to stay June 10th in the felony case, you need to call Peoria and get a new court date. That's all on you. But I'm not going to hold you for this right now, not based on your what I know of your criminal history, and the charge pending against you is drug possession, so it's not one that I'm particularly worried about, though I note it may have started life as drug sales. So Mr. Pemble, be smart. You're teetering on the edge of personal disaster. Do not fail to appear in your felony case. Do not fail to appear in this case, okay? All right, if you step to your left, you get your paperwork. Mr. Yellerman? Stanton Yellerman? Hello, sir. Can I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Stanton Ben Yellman, September 13, 1983.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Yellerman, you got arrested on an older case, but the warrant has just been hovering around waiting to find. Nope. Well, the warrant just went out this year, which means they've probably been trying to find you a little bit. But the allegations are fairly old, which is not uncommon in this type of case.
Okay.
You've been charged in a criminal complaint with 19 counts of making a false statement to obtain benefits. Each of those is a Class 6 felony. And that's between June 29th of 2020 and December 21st of 2020. One count of fraudulent schemes and practices against the government, which is a Class 5 felony. One count of theft as a Class 3 felony. Same offense dates. And so this is an Attorney General case. This is typically welfare or unemployment fraud. So that's the type of case that in general, I know what I'm looking at, and those often can take a long time to get filed. So you've now been charged. I am appointing a lawyer to represent you.
Okay.
You need to go to court on June 2nd, which is 8:30 in the morning. The address is on your paperwork.
Okay.
And you haven't missed any court dates in this case. It's newly charged. You haven't missed any dates. We just, I guess, didn't have a working address for you. So I'm going to release you to pretrial services. You just have to check in with them after you get out. They will tell you what to do, but I'm not showing they have any felony priors, and these offenses are fully 5 years ago. So just be smart and go to court, okay?
I will.
All right, everything's on your paperwork if you step to your left.
I thank you.
All right, good luck, sir. All right, then I've got two house calls, Mr. Yanis Durame and Katrina Bernal. Are they not physically present in court because they were isolated as a possible risk to themselves or others?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I do have an affirmative answer from the sheriff's office, so I will go see Mr. Yanis Durame and Ms. Bernal in custody, in-house back in the cell block immediately after this recording to conduct their initial appearances. I will advise Mr. Yanis Durame, looks like maybe in a safe cell, that he got arrested for dangerous drug possession, class 4 felony, and criminal trespass, a class 3 misdemeanor. I did find probable cause for those, and I am going to appoint a lawyer for him. I'm currently planning to give him a status conference June 5 at 8:30 in the morning in the downtown Superior Court, and a preliminary hearing June 9 at 8:30, same court. Mr. Yanis Durame does qualify for release on his own recognizance, and so I'm going to go talk to him. It is my hope that it does appear that he can comply with release conditions and appear for court, in which case I will continue with those court dates and I will release him. But if not, I may set bail in his case in $250 to $500 and move up his court dates. But the final decision will be reflected in my written order. So Katrina Bernal, born 6/23/92, is here on a new case. She got booked for narcotic drug possession, class 4 felony. There is probable cause for that. There's not, for purposes of this hearing, only probable cause for the second allegation, which is shoplifting, class 1 misdemeanor. I am appointing a lawyer for her. I'm going to give her status conference and preliminary hearing dates of June 5th and June 9th, respectively, at 8:30 in the morning in the downtown Superior Court. It is my hope that I believe I am able to release Ms. Bernal to pretrial services. This is saying that she would not stop removing her clothing or flashing staff. Have you seen her in a while? Is she still doing that?
I have not seen her since I've been on shift, but that's what they moved her in for. She just kept removing her clothing.
Okay, but so it's probably been hours since she got moved into that cell?
She was there prior to us coming in.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to make a bet as to whether or not I'm going to think that she's likely to be compliant, because sometimes if people have some hours to process out what may have been causing them to behave that way, then they're, all right.
I haven't heard any issues coming out of all of your.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that I can release her to pretrial services because, again, this is a drug possession charge. She does not have any felony priors. I'm going to take a bet on pretrial services with the dates I just gave. As I know with Mr. Yanis Durame, if my decision changes, if anything changes, when I conduct these initial appearances a few minutes from now, my final written order will reflect the court's ultimate decision in these cases. I am not going to update this recording, but my final order will note what my decision was. All right, with that, we are going to stand in recess until 2 p.m. this afternoon. Sorry, is it the officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, just give me a second. I think it ran some
And good
updates and stuff.
afternoon.
Oh, is that the interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm so sorry, I just have to sit here and watch the thing spin on my computer. Okay, here we go. Let me get this set up for a second real quick. And I'm looking for this. All right, and thanks to the interpreter for being available. We do appreciate that.
Of course, Your Honor.
We'll see how this goes. Let's see, get my camera going. One more minute, I hope. Come on. All right, we are back on the record on the matter from the 11 a.m. calendar.
Bueno, estamos de vuelta en actas en la causa que estaba agendado para las 11 de la mañana.
Because when the court went to see Mr. Yanez Dorame, he informed me that he would like to have an interpreter assisting him.
Cuando la juez fue a ver al señor Yanes Dorame, le informó que le gustaría tener la asistencia de un intérprete.
So this will be your initial appearance, sir. May I have your full name?
Señor, esta sería su comparecencia inicial. ¿Me da su nombre completo? Interpreter cannot hear him.
Sir, you're going to have to speak up for her, please.
Señor, va a tener que hablar bastante fuerte, por favor.
Oscar Yáñez Dorame.
Oscar Yanes Dorame.
And what is your date of birth, please?
¿Y cuál es su fecha de nacimiento, por favor?
1996 del 14 de enero.
1996, January 14.
Did you say January 14?
Me dijo en 14 de enero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You have been arrested on the following allegations.
Bueno, gracias. Usted fue arrestado bajo las siguientes presunciones.
Possession of dangerous drugs, a class 4 felony.
Tenencia de drogas peligrosas es un delito de clase 4.
Criminal trespassing, a class 3 misdemeanor.
Intrusión ilícita en lo penal es una falta de clase 3.
Your next court date will be May 29th at 8:30 in the morning in the downtown Superior Court.
Su siguiente audiencia se va a celebrar el 29 de mayo a las 8:30 en el Tribunal Superior del Centro.
Your preliminary hearing will be June 2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Su audiencia preliminar se va a celebrar el 2 de junio a las 8:30 de la mañana.
You have a $1,000 secured appearance bond in this case.
Usted tiene una fianza garantizada en el monto de $1,000.
You have other release conditions you are ordered to comply with.
Usted tiene otras medidas cautelares que se le ordena cumplir.
Those include that you may not go back to the place where you were arrested.
Eso incluye que no puede regresar al lugar donde usted fue arrestado.
You may not have any contact with any owners or employees at that location.
No puede tener ningún contacto con ningún propietario o empleado de esa ubicación.
If you miss any court dates, then you may lose your bond money and there will be a warrant issued for your arrest.
Si y usted no va a alguna de sus audiencias, usted pierde su fianza y se emite una orden de arresto.
We are going to print a copy of these orders for you, and the officers will bring it to you as soon as we are done.
Vamos a darle una copia de estas órdenes y los agentes se lo van a dar una vez que termine.
Thank you.
Gracias.
¿Cuándo seré liberado?
When am I going to be released?
You will be released either when you post $1,000 secured bail or another judge orders differently.
Usted será puesto en libertad cuando usted pague su fianza de $1,000 o cuando otro juez indique lo contrario.
You will be back in court next week and you can speak to your lawyer at that time.
Para la semana que viene va a ir a su audiencia y en aquel entonces usted puede hablar con su licenciado.
Good luck.
Buena suerte.
All right, we will be in recess. Thank you. Thank you so much to the interpreter.
Thank you, Your Honor. The interpreter.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Thanks, Tracy. What does that say? Oh, okay. How do we not know? Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Commissioner Hughes. This is the 2 p.m. initial appearance calendar for Thursday, May 22nd. The court's orders for the taking of DNA samples and fingerprints issued on the first calendar of May will apply to the hearings on this calendar. As we get started in here this afternoon, I will call each of you into the courtroom one at a time. I will ask one of you to stand behind this gray podium here in front of me in the courtroom. I'll ask the next two people that I intend to call into the courtroom to line up in the two chairs right inside this door. If you will, please listen for your name and follow the chair progression into the courtroom. I promise you all, it will make this calendar move much faster and everybody can get to where they're going to get to after this a little bit sooner. Once you work your way into the courtroom and you're behind the podium, the first thing I will do is ask you to state your full name and date of birth. Then I will tell you why you're here this afternoon. I will tell you whether you qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. Those lawyers are sometimes called public defenders. Those of you, I think it's all of you, here on criminal matters, you all have the right to the assistance of counsel in your case. Whether or not you qualify for a public defender, you always have the right to hire a private lawyer to defend you if you wish to go that route. After we talk about whether you get a court-appointed lawyer, I will give you the next court hearing dates and times that you'll be required to attend after this hearing. And the last thing we'll do while you're in the courtroom is talk about whether you are legally eligible for release from custody. If you are, we will go over on what terms and conditions you could be released. In addition to that right to the assistance of counsel, again, those of you here on criminal matters, you also have the right to remain silent. These are recorded criminal proceedings. What that means is that anything that you do choose to say in the courtroom this afternoon will be preserved on our recording and can be used against you at any point down the line in these proceedings. Unless you have already made arrangements with a private lawyer to represent you in here this afternoon, you will not have a lawyer present for your defense. Because there will not be a lawyer in here for you and because anything you say could now or later be used against you, I will strongly caution all of you not to make any statements regarding the facts about why you're here. Please save any questions, comments, statements that you might have about the facts that brought you here for a hearing where you have a lawyer present to discuss that with before you make any statements that you can't take back. Last thing I'll tell you all before we get started is that all of the information that you get while you're standing in the courtroom will be provided to you in writing in a document called a release order. You'll get handed that document as soon as you're done in here and you step back into the room that you're in right now. So please don't feel like you need to memorize everything that we're going through in the courtroom, but please keep that paperwork with you wherever you go from here, because that way come tomorrow, the next day, next week, you can still look back at that paperwork. You'll still have your next court dates. You'll have the date or you'll have the address and phone number to the court. And then in that paperwork will also be all of the conditions applicable to your release if you're eligible for release. All right, let's go ahead and get started. If we could, can I please have Ryan Armenta all the way into the courtroom behind the podium. Joshua Kenner, if you would please take a seat in the first chair right inside this door. Celeste Mendeville, if I could ask you to please take a seat in the second chair. Like, is this possibly not right? Is that the issue is? I need you to pull your arms all the way out of your shirt, please. Thank you. Can I have your name and date of birth?
March
8th, 1985 or 95? 95. Okay, and what's your name, sir?
Ryan Armenta.
Thank you, Mr. Armenta. You are here on two different matters. The first matter that you're here on is allegations of new charges. Those allegations are one count of kidnapping, a Class 2 felony, one count of vulnerable adult abuse, a Class 4 felony, one count of robbery, also a Class 4 felony, one count of unlawful imprisonment, one count of aggravated assault on a bound or restrained victim, those two are Class 6 felonies, and one count of preventing or interfering with the use of a telephone in an emergency. That last one is a Class 2 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those new allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings on those new allegations will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Both of those hearings will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those allegations, you have a $250,000 secured appearance bond. The second matter that you're here on is an allegation that those new charges violated Term 1 of your probation. It looks like a petition to revoke your probation was also already pending, alleging violations of Terms 3, 4, and 5. I have appointed a lawyer for you in the probation case as well. Your next court hearing in that probation matter will be a revocation arraignment hearing. That one will be May 29th. It'll also be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that probation matter, you are not eligible for release on bond. That means you will be held in custody without bail at least until you see the probation judge on May 29th. Because of that, you should wait at least until after that probation hearing before attempting to post the bond on the new charges. Do you understand that information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Armenta. You can step back and get your paperwork. Joshua Kenner, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Ms. Mendeville, if you would shift over to the first chair, and then if I could get James Gutierrez in the second chair, please. Can I have your name and date of birth?
Joshua J. Kenner,
And what's your date of birth?
May 17, 1994.
Thank you, Mr. Kenner. You are here on 4 different matters. The first matter you're here on is allegations of new charges. Those allegations are one count of dangerous drug possession for sale. That is a Class 2 felony. 2 counts of narcotic drug possession, 1 count of dangerous drug possession. Those 3 are Class 4 felonies. And last is 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, which is a Class 6 felony. I did find probable cause to support those new allegations, and I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you against them. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Both of those will be at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. On those new allegations, you have a $25,000 secured appearance bond. The other 3 matters you're here on are all probation violation allegations. In all 3 of those cases, petitions to revoke your probation have been filed. All of them allege violations of terms 3, 5, 7, and 15. One of the 3 also alleges a violation of term 11. In all 3 of those probation cases, I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearing in the probation matters will be a revocation arraignment May 29th, also at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On the 3 probation matters, you are not eligible for release on bond. What that means is you will be held in custody without bail at least until you see the probation judge on the 29th. Because of that, you should wait until after that probation hearing before attempting to post the bond on the new allegations. Do you understand that information?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kenner. You can step back and get your paperwork. Celeste Mendeville, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Jeremy Mullins, if I could ask you to please work your way to that second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Celeste Mendeville, 2/1790. Sorry.
2/1790. Okay, thank you, Ms. Mendeville. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is 1 count of aggravated assault. It is a Class 3 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Both of those hearings will take place at 8:30 in the morning in the Superior Court downtown. On this allegation, you have a $15,000 secured appearance bond. Secured appearance means that you can use a bonding company to post that bond if you choose to. If you do post that bond and you're released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where the underlying events giving rise to that allegation took place. You cannot have contact, physical or otherwise, with the alleged victim. You cannot possess any weapons. You cannot consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. And whether or not you are released from custody, you are ordered to strictly comply with the terms of any orders of protection, if any have been served upon you or are later served upon you. Because you are not permitted to return to the scene where this occurred and you're not permitted to have contact with the victim, it is possible that these orders mean I'm ordering you to find an alternate residence. If that is true, but you need to return to the location where these events took place to retrieve clothing, toiletries, items you might need for school work, you can return to that location one time between the period you get out of custody if you're released and your first hearing on the 29th to retrieve those items. If you need to do that, you can only do it if you're accompanied by a law enforcement officer. So if you need to do that, you can call the non-emergency number to any local police agency, tell them that you have a civil standby, need an escort to that location. They'll give you further instruction on how to do that. If you do that, please retrieve anything from that location you might need at least until the 29th, because you can only do that one time. Do you understand all of that information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mendeville. You can step back and get your paperwork. James Gutierrez, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Ishmael, if you would please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Okay. James Gutierrez and Juan Enrique Gutierrez, 2677.
Thank you very much. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are one count of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, that's a class 4 felony, and one count of failing to admit you were carrying a deadly weapon, that one's a class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed the public defender's office to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 6th. They will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, you have a $10,000 secured appearance bond. Again, secured appearance means you can use a bonding company. If you post that and you are released, you cannot possess any weapons and you cannot consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gutierrez. You can step back and get your paperwork. Jeremy Mullen to the podium in the courtroom, please. Mario Ashley, if you would please work your way to the second chair. Can I please have your name and date of birth?
Jeremy Mullen, 9/18/1972.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mullen. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are one count of aggravated assault, that is a class 3 felony, one count of burglary, a class 4 felony, one count of causing criminal damage, and one count of disorderly conduct. Those last two are class 1 misdemeanors. I have found probable cause to support those allegations. I have determined that you are entitled to a court-appointed lawyer to defend you. It looks like you might have indicated that you want to retain your own lawyer. Would you like to decline a public defender, or do you want me to leave one on there until you hire a lawyer?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I will appoint the public defender's office. What that means is the public defender will, from here forward, be assigned to defend you. As I stated earlier, you do have the right to hire a private lawyer if you choose to do that. If and when you hire a private lawyer, keep this paperwork, let your lawyer know what this case number is. Your lawyer will then know what to do with the court, and then once your lawyer does that, the public defender will withdraw.
Yes, ma'am.
In the meantime, though, you'll have a lawyer assigned to your case should anything happen between now and your next hearing or when you hire a private lawyer. Your next hearings, speaking of, will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Those two hearings will both be at 8:30 and they'll both be in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, you have a $10,000 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you are released, you cannot return to the scene where the events giving rise to these allegations took place. You cannot have contact with the complainant, any alleged victims, or any witnesses. You cannot possess any weapons, and you cannot consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand all of those conditions?
No, I do not.
Okay, which ones don't you understand?
Apparently, my roommate is one of the victims on the charges.
Okay.
I know she was a victim in the actual occurrence. So I don't know if she was reported on the report that she's a victim of me, or what the deal was with that.
It looks like, according to the information in the Form 4, the alleged victim is an employee at a store.
Okay.
Is that your roommate?
No.
Okay. I didn't have any reason to believe that any of the alleged victims were people that you resided with. Yeah, the only alleged victim, according to the information provided by law enforcement, looks like an employee of a store.
Okay, because she was injured. That's why she was injured and sent to the hospital by fire.
Okay.
At the incident.
So here's what I will suggest. I had no information about that from what law enforcement told me. My only knowledge of that specific fact is what you just told me. So I have no reason to believe that anybody other than this store employee is an alleged victim. To the extent that you have concerns that there are other alleged victims out there, what I would say is, if that alleged victim that I'm not aware of that you think could be an alleged victim suggests that they don't want to have contact with you, I would encourage you then to avoid having contact with that person. But as far as I am aware, the only alleged victim is a store employee. So as long as you don't go back to that store and you don't initiate contact with that employee.
I have property at that store. How am I to retrieve that then?
Okay, let me ask you one question and then I'll get back to that. I'm not ignoring that question. Was your roommate present when these alleged events took place?
Yes.
Okay, so what I will do then is I will not, trying to figure out how to not say it with a double negative. I will allow you to have contact with alleged witnesses because I don't want to prohibit you contact with alleged witnesses and then you have to move out or find another place.
Well, it's my house, so she would have to move.
Okay,
so
here's what I will
own
do.
The house.
I will say that you cannot have contact with any alleged witnesses about the substance of these allegations. So if you have contact with your roommate and your roommate saw some of these underlying alleged events, just don't talk about what happened. Okay, in terms of property, is the property you have located at this store inside or outside? Is it a vehicle parked in the parking lot?
It's a vehicle that they pulled in, and I'm assuming they pulled out this morning because they needed the bays, they needed the room, so I don't know, and I still have to pay for it. That's a whole issue.
My hesitation here is, based on my reading of the information provided by law enforcement regarding the alleged facts in this case, the altercation that is alleged to have given rise to these allegations stemmed from payment of this vehicle at that store. I'm not asking you to confirm or deny that. I just am trying to explain to you my hesitation with allowing you to go back to retrieve that vehicle is that we might end up back in a similar situation.
The situation I'm in is I use a credit card in my name to pay for the repairs, and if I'm not in there, my roommate or my girlfriend, are they able to use my credit card to pay for it?
So I don't know the answer to that. I think that would be a question for the store, and I've ordered you not to have contact with them.
And this is a business vehicle as well that has product inside of it.
Okay. So I am not inclined to allow you to go back there to retrieve that at this point. So what I will tell you is, to the extent that you have a friend or family member that could help facilitate the payment of whatever the service was and the release of that vehicle, nothing in this order will prohibit you from enlisting the help of a third party to get your vehicle back. But you cannot go back there. You cannot have contact with them. Keep in mind, Mr. Mullen, that these orders that I am imposing right now are temporary orders that are set to be in place between now and your first hearing on the 29th. So to the extent that you don't have anybody or you're not able to get that vehicle released before your first hearing, what I would tell you is either talk to the private lawyer you hire, if you hire one before your first hearing, to help you facilitate getting that vehicle released, or bring that up with the lawyer that's present to defend you if you go with the public defender's office at your first hearing. But between now and that hearing, you personally cannot go back there, and you can't have contact with that employee at the store. So that would mean you couldn't even call to try to facilitate that. So between now and your first hearing, please use a third party to facilitate that if you're able to. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until you get a lawyer to help you deal with that situation. Okay, anything else we need to do?
Yes, so I travel for a living, and I'm supposed to leave June 1st, beginning of June, for Colorado for work.
Okay, so your first hearing before the judge that will see you in the underlying case will be before June 1st.
Okay.
So between now and that hearing on the 29th, don't leave the state unless and until you have a lawyer that gets a different order from the trial court. But bring that up at your first hearing if you need permission to leave the state.
Then as far as cannabis, I have my medical card and I use it for pain.
You'll treat it like a prescription drug.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No, that is.
All right, thank you, sir. I think we're getting your paperwork, the modifications printed, but if you want to go ahead and step back to your left, we'll bring it right out to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Ishmael, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Alvina Castro, if I could ask you to work your way to the second chair, please. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
And January 1st, 1982.
1980, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
82.
82. And what's your name?
Shamaki Muhammad Ishmael.
Can you come a little bit centered on the podium and tell me your name one more time?
First or last name?
Both.
Shamaki Muhammad Ishmael.
Okay. Is your last name Mohammed Ishmael, or is Mohammed your middle name?
Middle name.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Okay, you are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of dangerous drug possession, 1 count of narcotic drug possession. Those are both class 4 felonies. 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a class 6 felony, and 1 count of driving under the influence, a class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support all of those allegations with the exception of the dangerous drug allegation. I did not find probable cause to support that allegation. I have appointed a lawyer to represent you against the allegations supported by probable cause. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Those hearings will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On the allegations supported by probable cause, you have a $7,500 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you are released from custody, you cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses, if there are any. You cannot have contact with any alleged co-defendants, and you cannot possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. Last, if you are released from custody and you don't have a valid driver's license, you cannot operate a motor vehicle. Do you understand those conditions? Okay, thank you, sir. You can step back and get your paperwork. Mario Ashley, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Ryan Packard, if I could ask you to please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Mario Ashley, 4/15/86.
Thank you, Mr. Ashley. You are here on 3 different matters. The first matter that you're here on is an arrest warrant issued after a direct complaint was filed. A direct complaint is a written document that alleges new allegations against you. The allegations in that direct complaint are 1 count of dangerous drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. On those new allegations, I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those allegations, you have a $5,000 secured appearance bond. The second of the 3 matters you're here on is a bench warrant issued by the Superior Court when you failed to appear at a status conference in an existing felony drug case. In that case, you already have a lawyer assigned to you. That lawyer will continue to defend you. Your next court hearings in that existing case will be the same as your hearings in that new case. So you'll have a status conference the 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd, again at 8:30. On that warrant, you have a $1,000 secured appearance bond. The last matter that you're here on is a failure to appear warrant issued by the Manistee Justice Court on a misdemeanor drug paraphernalia possession case. On that misdemeanor warrant, you're entitled to a court-appointed lawyer for purposes of release conditions, and I've appointed one for you. Your next court hearing on that misdemeanor warrant will be an arraignment hearing May 28th. That one will be at 8:30, and it will be in the Manistee Justice Court. On the misdemeanor warrant, you have a $500 secured appearance bond. That means your total bond for all 3 cases will be $6,500. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released from custody, you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
I can't make that bond.
Okay, if you don't post that, you'll stay in custody at least until your first hearings in each case.
What day is that again?
So your first hearing on the new charges and the warrant is the felony warrant is May 29th. Your first hearing on the misdemeanor warrant is May 28th. So you'll be in custody if you don't post that bond at least until the 29th. Okay, you can go ahead and step back and get your paperwork. Alvina Castro, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Manuel Madrid, if you would please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Alvina Castro,
And what's your date of birth?
September 2nd, 1991.
Thank you, Ms. Castro. You are here on allegations of new charges. Sir, if you'll take a seat right inside that door. You're here on allegations of new charges. Those allegations are 1 count of causing criminal damage. It's a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of assault, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. They will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those allegations, you have a $1,500 secured appearance bond. If you post that bond and you are released from custody, you cannot return to the scene where the underlying events took place. You cannot have contact with any alleged victims or witnesses. You also cannot possess any weapons, and you cannot consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription. If you are released from custody, you will also have to check in with your mental health case manager within 24 hours of your release.
Okay.
Do you understand all of those conditions?
Yes, so I'll be released today, or?
Well, you have to post a bond. So as soon as that bond gets posted, you'll be eligible for release. If that bond is not posted, you will stay in custody at least until your first hearing on the 29th.
29th, okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Castro. You can step back and get your paperwork. Ryan Packard, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Ulysses Lynch, if you'd please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Ryan Packard, 11/2087.
Thank you, Mr. Packard. You are here on 3 probation violation warrants. In all 3 cases, petitions to revoke your probation allege that you have violated terms 3, 4, and 5. I've appointed a lawyer for you in all 3 cases. Your next court hearing will be a revocation arraignment May 29th. It will be at 8:30 in the probation court downtown. On those 3 warrants, you have a total secured appearance bond of $2,500. It's $1,000 on 2 of the warrants and then $500 on the third. So $2,500 all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you cannot possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. And if you are released from custody, within 3 days of being released, you have to call your probation officer. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Packard. You can step back and get your paperwork. Manuel Madrid, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Travis Myers, if you'd please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Manuel Madrid, 0207-1997.
Thank you, Mr. Madrid. You are here on a bench warrant issued by the Superior Court when you failed to appear at a status conference in an existing felony drug and misdemeanor shoplifting case. You have a lawyer already assigned to you in that matter. That lawyer will continue to defend you. Your next court hearing will be a post-warrant status conference. It is scheduled for May 29th at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that warrant, you have a $500 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you are released, you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription, and you can't operate a motor vehicle if you don't have a valid driver's license. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, so I'm staying in custody then?
Unless you post that bond, yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ulysses Lynch, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Felicia Lino, if I could ask you to work your way to the second chair, please. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Ulysses Lynch, 10672.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. You are here on a bench warrant issued by the probation court when you failed to appear at a revocation arraignment hearing. You have a lawyer assigned to you in that probation case already. That's true even if you haven't met with that lawyer. So the lawyer that's already been assigned to that case will continue to represent you. Your next court hearing will be a new probation revocation arraignment hearing. It is scheduled for May 29th. It'll be at 8:30 in the probation court downtown. And on that warrant, you have a $500 secured appearance bond. If you post that and you are released, you are ordered not to possess any weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. And if you're released from custody within 3 days of being released, you have to call your probation officer. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How much is the bond?
It's $500 secured appearance.
Is that cash or?
No, you can use a bonding company to get it posted. If you want to try to use a bonding company, when you get back in the jail facility in various different places, there's a list of bonding companies and their phone numbers. You can either track one of those down or ask any of the jail officers to point one out or get you one, and then you can use any of the phones back there to call one, two, or all of those bonding companies if you want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Lynch. You can step back and get your paperwork.
How soon or how long do I have to post it?
There's no time limit on it, so you could post it as soon as you walk back there. You could post it on the 28th, the day before your hearing. It's just that you will stay in custody unless and until it's posted.
Okay.
So timing is totally up to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. Travis Myers, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Melanie Moreno, if you'd work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
Travis Myers, 6/7/1991.
Say your date of birth one more time.
6/7/91.
Thank you very much. Okay, you are here on two different matters. The first matter that you're here on is allegations of new charges. Those allegations are one count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, one count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and one count of criminal trespassing, a Class 3 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support the trespassing misdemeanor and the paraphernalia felony. I have not found probable cause to support narcotic drug possession. I have appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. They'll both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On the new allegations supported by probable cause, you have a $100 secured appearance bond. The second matter that you're here on is a probation violation warrant. In that case, a petition to revoke your probation was filed and alleges that you have violated terms 3 and 5. I have also appointed a public defender to represent you in the probation matter. Your next court hearing in that probation case will be a revocation arraignment May 29th at 8:30. On that warrant, you also have a $100 secured appearance bond. So your total bond for both cases will be $200. It is all secured appearance. If you post that and you are released, you are ordered not to possess any weapons or any drugs without a valid prescription. Do Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah, the whole misdemeanor thing, I just got off of parole, so that's why I hadn't filed for, or came down through for the probation that was sentenced last year.
So I'm going to stop you, not because I'm not interested in this information, but I don't want you to make any material admissions, and I feel like that's where you're going. So I'm going to encourage you to talk to your lawyer about that. Have that conversation with your lawyer in the absence of a court recording that could be used against you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. Felicia Lino, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Domenico Bergman, if you'd work your way to whichever chair is open, please. Can I have your name and date of birth?
Alicia Virginia Lino.
And what's your date of birth?
12/1/96.
Thank you, Ms. Lino. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of criminal trespassing, a Class 2 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I have appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th. Both of those will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. I am releasing you to the supervision of pretrial services. What that means is you will be released from custody. You do not need to post a bond to secure your release. But once you are out of custody, you will be responsible for getting yourself to both of your court hearings. You will also be required to make contact with pretrial services once you're out of custody. Their contact information will be in a packet that you get with your release paperwork, so please make sure you keep the paperwork and that little packet so you can call or go to their office when you're out of custody. Also, once you're released, you cannot go back to the scene where you were allegedly trespassing, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand that information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You can step back and get your paperwork. Melanie Moreno, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Jonathan Ross, if I could ask you to please work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth?
Melanie Moreno, July 6, 2003.
Thank you, Ms. Moreno. You are here on allegations of new charges. Those allegations are 1 count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th. Both of those hearings will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On these allegations, I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be released from custody. That means it's going to be your responsibility to get yourself to both of those court hearings. Once you are out of custody, you cannot return to the scene where you were arrested, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Moreno. You can step back and get your paperwork. Domenico Bergman, if you please work your way into the courtroom. James Taylor, if you please work your way to the second chair. Jonathan Ross, if you're not in the chair, if you would move that way, please. Can I have your name and date of birth?
Domenico Luke Bergman, July 1st, 1991.
Thank you, Mr. Bergman. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, and 1 count of resisting arrest, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed a lawyer to defend you against them. Your next court hearings will be a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th. They will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. I am releasing you to the supervision of pretrial services, so that means you will be released from custody without having to post a bond, but upon release, you will be supervised by pretrial. Once you're out of custody, you will have to contact pretrial services. Their information will be in a packet you get with your release paperwork, so please keep that. Once you're out, you'll also be responsible for getting yourself to both of your next court hearings, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand all of that information?
Yes, miss.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bergman. You can step back and get your paperwork. Jonathan Ross, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Jennifer McKinnon, if I could ask you to work your way to the second chair.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Jonathan Ray Mesa-Ross, April 15, 1989.
Thank you, Mr. Meza-Ross. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is one count of burglary. It is a Class 3 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation, and I've appointed the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th. Both of those hearings will be at 8:30 in the morning, and they'll both be in the Superior Court downtown.
Okay.
I am releasing you to the supervision of pretrial services, so you will be released from custody. You do not need to post a bond to secure your release. Once you are out of custody, you will be responsible for getting yourself to both of your next court hearings. You'll also be required to contact pretrial services once you're out of custody. Their contact information will be in a packet that you get with your release paperwork. Please keep that so once you're out, you can call them or go to their office to make contact with them. Once you get out of custody, you cannot go back to the location where the alleged offense took place. You cannot have contact with the complainant or any alleged victims or witnesses, and you cannot possess weapons or drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand all of those conditions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ross. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Have a good day.
James Taylor, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Caitlin Shafranek, if you'd work your way to the second chair. Can I have your name and date of birth, please, sir?
James Taylor, 32099.
Say both of them again for me, if you would, please, a little bit louder.
James Taylor, 32099.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor. You are here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is one count of reckless burning. It is a Class 1 misdemeanor. Because that allegation is a misdemeanor offense, the nature of that charge does not entitle you to a court-appointed lawyer. You do still have the right to the assistance of counsel. If you wish to be defended by a lawyer in this case, you will have to hire a lawyer to represent you. Your next court hearing will be an arraignment hearing June 11th. It will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the Goodyear Municipal Court. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will get out of custody without having to post a bond, and then it's going to be your responsibility to get yourself to your next hearing on the 11th in Goodyear. Once you are out of custody, you cannot have contact with the officers that arrested you on this allegation. You cannot possess any weapons. You also cannot possess any items capable of creating a source of ignition. That includes matches, lighters, torches, anything that can cause something to catch on fire. You cannot have possession of. Last, you cannot possess or consume any alcohol or drugs without a valid prescription once you are released. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah, I have a question though.
Okay.
I was seeing as far as like, how do I get, say, someone was saying like transportation. Not
From
like,
where to where?
Like to get my clothes and stuff like that.
From where?
From the residence.
Why do you need to get your clothes?
Well, just like to get there, you know what I'm saying?
You mean like a ride from here to there?
Yeah.
I can't help you with that. I don't know how that works. You can ask jail staff how that works when you get back there.
You was just asking, it was another person just here just saying that.
Well, that person that I was talking to about arranging for a law enforcement escort, that was because I had ordered that person not to go back to what I believed was their primary residence. I'm not ordering you not to go back to this location.
Oh, okay.
So you can go, I mean, you don't need to go there to retrieve your clothes unless you personally just want to go somewhere else. But you can go there and put yourself in your clothes at that house.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. You can step back and get your paperwork. Jennifer McKinnon to the podium in the courtroom, please. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Jennifer Joan McKinnon, 0908-2002.
Thank you, Ms. McKinnon. You are here on two different matters. Both of them allege new allegations against you, just in two different ways. The first one is allegations of new offenses in a written document called a direct complaint. Those allegations are 1 count of narcotic drug possession, a Class 4 felony, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony, alleged to have been committed June 12th of 2024. The second matter alleges new allegations against you based on a new arrest from yesterday. Those allegations are 1 count of narcotic drug possession, 1 count of dangerous drug possession, both Class 4 felonies, and 1 count of drug paraphernalia possession, a Class 6 felony. In both cases, I've appointed a public defender to represent you. Your next court hearings will be the same in both cases. You will have a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. In each of these 2 matters, I am releasing you on your own recognizance. So you will be released from custody. That means it will be your responsibility to get to both of those next hearings. Please keep in mind, Ms. McKinnon, that on each of those calendars, you're going to have 2 cases called. So if you don't appear at your hearing either June 5th or June 9th, that court will issue a warrant for your arrest in both cases. So if you don't show up in court, you're going to have 2 warrants, potentially 4 if you don't go both days for your arrest. So make sure that you get yourself to court on the 5th and the 9th, and then once you're out of custody, you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription.
Thank you.
Do you understand all of that information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. You can step back and get your paperwork. Caitlin Shaw-Franick, if you would please work your way into the courtroom. Any updates on the potential minor? Okay. Can I have your name and date of birth, please?
Caitlin Shafranek, 11594.
Thank you very much. You are here on allegations of new charges. The allegations against you are 2 counts of narcotic drug possession and 1 count of dangerous drug possession. They are all Class 4 felonies. I have found probable cause to support 1 count of dangerous drug possession and 1 count of narcotic drug possession. I did not find probable cause to support the 2nd count of narcotic drug possession. I've appointed a public defender to represent you. Your next court hearings will be a status conference June 5th and then a preliminary hearing June 9th. Both of those hearings will be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. I am releasing you on your own recognizance, so you will be released. You don't need to post a bond. Once you are out of custody, you will be responsible for getting yourself to both of those hearings. And once you're out, you cannot return to the scene where you were arrested, and you cannot possess any drugs without a valid prescription. Do you understand those conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. You can step back and get your paperwork.
Thank you.
Officers, any updates on number 30? Is she going to be seen, or does she need to be transferred to juvenile?
She's going to be a house call.
Is she 18 or over?
It says 18.
There was some question about her age before court.
Yeah, so I was told we had some concern about her age. That is all resolved?
Judge, nobody told us anything, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm just reading what's on the card, and it says.
Who told you that?
The previous court officers.
I can double check it.
Yeah, I mean, based on her date of birth in ISIS, she is 18.
Yeah.
But the only question is, I have a note that says there's potential questions about her age. So if somebody just wants to, if you guys wouldn't mind just confirming, I'm happy to see her as a house call. Why is she a house call? Because she's a juvenile?
It's possible to be.
That's what it says.
Okay, can you confirm her date of birth? And if that's the only reason she's a house call, would you bring her in?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Is this calendar a shift change one?
Yes. 2:30 we start, and they do whatever they do.
They prep it for you?
Yes.
Okay.
And then they just give me the stuff, and they failed to say anything about the juvie. Or maybe not juvie.
Yeah, I didn't have any reason to question it until I saw that note, so I don't know what they were looking at. I'll read the other house calls on while we're waiting. Okay, number 23 on the calendar, Tanisha Sampson, date of birth 7/3/2001, is not in the courtroom because She was unable to function in general population due to combative behavior. She is here on two different matters. The first is an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is one count of aggravated assault on a first responder, a Class 5 felony. I did find probable cause to support that allegation, and I appointed a public defender to represent her. Her next court hearing on that allegation will be a status conference May 29th, and then she'll have a preliminary hearing June 2nd. Those will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that new allegation, she has a $5,000 secured appearance bond. The second matter she's here on is a probation violation allegation. The allegation is that that new charge violated term 1 of her probation. I've also appointed a lawyer for her in that case. Her next hearing in the probation matter will be a revocation arraignment May 29th at 8:30 in the probation court downtown. On the probation matter, she is not eligible for release on bond. Number 1 on the calendar, Travis Julian Begay, date of birth 10/10/72, is not in the courtroom because he was unable to function in general population and posed a potential safety risk to himself or others. He is here on an allegation of a new charge. That allegation is one count of aggravated assault, a Class 2 felony. I have found probable cause to support that allegation and appointed the public defender's office to represent him. His next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On that allegation, he has a $75,000 secured appearance bond. Number 2 on the calendar, Diego Cantu Cavazos, date of birth 1/24/62, is not in the courtroom because he poses a danger to himself. He is here on allegations of new charges. Those allegations are one count of aggravated assault, a Class 3 felony, and one count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed the public defender's office to represent him. His next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd. They will both be at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those allegations, he has a $25,000 secured appearance bond. If that bond is posted prior to his release from custody, he will be affixed with an ankle monitor from pretrial services for electronic monitoring. What's the status?
So Commissioner, she is Ruby. She wasn't able to provide her name and age. And as you speak, detectives are here. They're interviewing her right now by Phoenix.
And are they going to take her down to Durango?
Probably, yeah, they will transfer because she didn't give them the right information. So she was booked as an adult, but she's not.
Okay, so we'll just vacate it? Okay, well, okay, so we're not going to see her now.
No.
Okay, so here's what we'll do is I will just say that number 30 on the 2 p.m. calendar, Latasha Gilbert, is not going to be seen on the 2 p.m. calendar. If and when she is to be seen by IA court, her matter will be transferred to a different calendar. It is possible, however, that this court will vacate that and she will be seen by a different court. Okay, number 11, last on the calendar, Mark Ortega, date of birth 9/24/94, is not in the courtroom because he poses a danger to himself. He is here on allegations of new charges. Those allegations are one count of aggravated assault, a Class 4 felony, one count of causing criminal damage, a Class 1 misdemeanor, and one count of disorderly conduct, a Class 1 misdemeanor. I have found probable cause to support those allegations, and I've appointed the public defender's office to represent her. Her next court hearings will be a status conference May 29th and then a preliminary hearing June 2nd, both at 8:30 in the Superior Court downtown. On those allegations, he has a $25,000 secured appearance bond. If anything changes after I visit any of those individual cell sides, the court's final orders regarding release conditions will be reflected in their written release orders. That concludes the 2 p.m. initial appearance calendar. This court will stand in recess until 5 p.m.